attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, it is time to accelerate. This is our our Super Bowl edition. I made up a little graphic for you here. We'll start with the Lord's Prayer. We'll go from there. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
All right. All right, we're getting ready to accelerate. Who's going to accelerate more tomorrow? Is it going to be Marshawn Lynch, or will the Patriots defense be able to put the clamps on him? We will see.
Russell Wilson, baby.
You think Russell
That's
Wilson?
right.
I'm just here to. I do like Russell Wilson. I'm just here so I don't get fined, guys. So let's see. We are feeling the real here today. In the background, you heard the dulcet tones of Carrie Duke, keyword Carrie Duke, and of course Daryl, Financial Factory Ferguson. You guys there?
Yep. Doing good, Mike. How you doing?
Doing good, Daryl. Carrie, you there?
I am here and looking forward to it.
You know, all of Becker style. Let's talk about the Super Bowl for a second here. You know, he just talks a little bit first before getting started. I made up this graphic. This is how I genuinely feel. So you guys are both Russell Wilson fans?
I love Russell Wilson as an athlete.
Yes, definitely.
All right. That's quite the analysis. You guys would both be kicked off of ESPN immediately.
Hey, leadership. He's got it all. Leadership, athletic skills. He can throw it. He can run it. What else do you want? This is the guy that is. He came. What was he drafted in third or fourth round? Nobody thought he could even be a starter. Gets to be a starter, and then takes his team all the way to the Super Bowl. Are you kidding me?
Twice, back to back.
Yeah. He's a great story.
Yeah. Let me tell you guys what I think is going on. Daryl, do you have any? I have the feeling that Daryl doesn't have too much football analysis for us. Do you?
I follow college football. I'm in Alabama right now, so
Football.
I follow the Tide quite a bit.
All right. Yeah, it was a good game with the Tide and the Buckeyes. It's a good game. Here's what I think. I think that there's a lesson in this. Now, first of all, who's going to win? Let's go to the question box and see who's going to win the game. Let's get the analysis. We got let's see. Christopher says Pats. Chris Lee says Pats. There we go. Steve's got it. OMGers are the real winners. That's right. Got a couple people said OMGers are going to win. Steve said OMGers are going to win. Let's see. George. George said, "Hey man, this football stuff. I'm just here for SEO. Good for you, George." Mark says Hawks. Bob Lindley says Pats. Mary Semmer, another vote for OMGers. Preston Taylor says Hawks. Ted says Pats. Jason Wyatt, Hawks. Paul says Packers. Paul, got bad news for you, but I think Paul missed the last couple of minutes of the NFC Championship. Sue says the commercials are going to win. Joanne says Seattle. Tommy says Pats. Suresh says Seattle. Michael Wright says, "Who cares? Haha, Brit here. LOL." All right, Michael. Another Michael says Seahawks. Michael Steger. Mike says OMG all the way. Christopher says go Bills. All right, now we got some real confusion here, Christopher Vogelman. We got to talk. Bill Williams says OMGs definitely win. Pat from Pip, Pat, and Pats. Kara, Hawks. Preston Taylor says beast mode. And let's see. Team with the, oh goodness. Mike says the team with the flattest balls. That's funny. Let's see. Not LSI. All right, good. LSI is going to for the win. Pulling for the Clydesdale, Scott says. Tom Brady hasn't turned out too shabby for a sixth rounder. By the way, Rob says. I think that is in response to you there, Carrie. David Duncan said, "Here to get wisdom of my two favorite OMGers, Carrie and Derry." Oh, that's nice. You got a super fan there. George says, "Beer industry, enough beer to flow over Niagara Falls for 7.5 minutes." That's quite a stat there. Let's see. Jim says the Pats are going to burn Richard Sherman. I wouldn't be so hasty there, Jim. I'm not sure that's true. OMG has no problem with balls. P.O. says, okay. So with that, what I think is going to happen, I'll just come out in the actual game. So first of all, OMG is going to win no matter what. I've been saying that. I think the Seahawks are going to win. I think what's going to happen is that the Seahawks are too violent for the Patriots. That is my opinion. I think that they are just basically bigger, faster, stronger. I think there's a pretty decent chance that Marshawn Lynch will really, really expose a little bit of a soft Patriots defense. The reason I say this is OMG, of course, is built around earnings reports. That's the whole backstory. I'm not going to get into the whole big backstory behind it right now, but that's the basis of it is we want earnings reports, but we really want them. We didn't want to, like, when me and David and Greg founded this company, it's not even a company actually, but that's another story. When we founded this movement, it's definitely a movement, then, it's built around the OMG way. And the OMG way, it's not, we figure, how many people figure that the real world ways had its shot and now it's time for the OMG way? Let me see if I can get some ones on that. I mean, because really, there's so many people here that have tried, the school way and the guru way and the expert way and your parents' way and almost everybody else's way. But man, this OMG way, it's just working pretty good. And the basis of it is, we've heard in football smart fundamentals, block and tackle and all that kind of stuff, but it really does matter. And with the idea there is meta. What's meta? What are the meta skills? What's the meta strategy? And the meta is it's the foundation. It's what sits underneath it. So, Jesus said, hey, listen, if you build, he didn't actually say, hey, listen, of course, that was me paraphrasing. But he said, look, he didn't say look either, but all right. I'm paraphrasing right now. Don't, nobody bust me on my language here. But he said, if you build your house on sand, right? Does anybody know this? If you build your house on sand, what's the deal? What happens if you build it on sand? You get
sinks.
Sand in your toes. What is it? Sand in your hair? No, it just falls. It falls exactly. Heidi said it. It'll fall. It'll just be crappy, right? It'll fall and it's just going to be crappy. It's a terrible idea. But if you build it on rock, right? If you build your house on rock, you are in great shape. He didn't say great shape, but you know what I mean. All right, so I'm not exactly. Yes, there's a lot of people who know exactly what he said, which is great. Rob said, "Are we going to bring on Angela for spill the beans on what she's delivering for social clients and how she outsources it all?" I don't know. Is Angela around? I'll take a look at the attendee box and see if we got Angela. I'd love to have Angela on. Angela's awesome. Angela's boycotting. Sorry, guys. If someone can track down Angela and get her on the line, I'll be more than happy to bring her on here. So it's it's foundational, and the idea is that if you build on a strong foundation, then you're going to be strong. And the foundation in this case is meta, like these meta skills. So what are the meta skills? Let's say in football. Let's get some people chiming in. What are some of the meta skills in football? I'll give you an example of what's not a meta skill. So if Julian Edelman is a Patriots wide receiver, he knows the exact routes and the exact pitch or whatever, he's like that kind of stuff, run this at this. Jim says the fundamentals is burn Richard Sherman. Okay, Jim, I get it. But no, like let's focus on this. I really mean this for a second. I know this is maybe more football metaphor than some people want, but it's okay. It's we're just going to use it today. The winner's OMG anyways. So if Julian Edelman is literally just this incredible route runner, then that's not really meta to NFL success, is it? Because, for example, you could be a terrible route runner and be a linebacker, right? And it could be fine. This is no big deal. Now, it could help you. Richard Sherman, by the way, is a cornerback for the Seahawks, was actually a wide receiver. So it probably does help him a bit that he was probably, he's probably a good route runner when he was in college. Christopher says cheerleading is the meta. Yeah. No, but this is kind of a good example. So route running is something that wide receivers do. They have a prescribed route that they're going to run. I'm going to, go so many feet forward, and then I'm going to go at a 45-degree angle or whatever. the route calls for, and that can be nice and it can be important, especially if you're a wide receiver. But for example, what can be way better is what Rob Gronkowski does. He's the Patriots tight end, and he's just gigantic, right? He's just bigger, faster, stronger. He's 6'6", okay, and he's very strong, and he's very fast, and this creates problems for people because he's, so the meta skill in this case is just bigger, faster, stronger. Football is a sport of collision. It's a sport of violence and so forth. Okay, give me a number one if that makes sense. Because Jason said X's and O's, it's actually not the X's and O's. Okay, Daryl and Daryl and Carrie, you guys have been around long enough to remember Lawrence Taylor. Do you guys remember Lawrence Taylor?
Absolutely.
Yep, sure do.
And were you guys following football back then? I mean,
Absolutely.
So what
Yes,
was it
sir.
like when Lawrence Taylor started playing? It was pretty crazy, right?
He was bigger, faster, stronger.
He was, right?
Nobody could block him.
Yeah, he just ran people over. He didn't know the plays. He's come back out and admitted it after the fact. Bill Parcells was his coach. It didn't matter. Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick actually was his defensive coordinator. He didn't know the plays. He didn't. He was the best player in the NFL. He did not know the plays. All right? But he was so big, so fast, so strong. I think he came out of NC State. And it really created – so what does this have to do with OMG? Let's bring this back to money getting. What does this have to do with money getting?
It creates fundamental mismatches.
It does create fundamental mismatches. So what are the fundamental mismatches that we want to have? And this is – I don't expect this to jump right out of your brain necessarily, okay? Fletch is on. Dang. I'm going to bring Fletch on. Fletch was bigger, faster, stronger, for sure.
Did he cut his hair off? I saw
Okay.
him getting his hair cut the other day.
Oh, my
Or was his daughter styling it? I wasn't sure.
We will find out in just a moment. I got to make Daryl and a little bit more conversational today than normal. Normally we get straight to the point. Not really, but pretty straight to the point. Fletch, are you there?
Hey, Mike.
Man,
What's up, buddy?
did you cut your hair? That's what the guys are saying.
No, that's crazy talk. I just had my hair braided.
Crazy.
Well, that's what it was. I saw the back view. I wasn't sure.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, my daughter decided she wanted to braid my hair, so yeah.
Very good. Fletch, you were a football player, and really you were pretty like you played at a pretty high level. You played in college. You were a tight end too, like Gronkowski.
No, I was a receiver, Mike.
Oh my
I
lord.
was
Big
my
door?
side was receiver. So yeah, I kind of follow the same model, but
Yeah. All right. So I didn't design like what I said about route running versus just being bigger, faster, stronger. I didn't really have you in mind, but since you're here and since you were a wide receiver, you have such a great way of explaining things. First of all, do you agree with that idea? And just what say you?
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you come in, it's a play off the unfair advantages. When you're in a situation where you are, bigger than the competition, if big is a factor in winning, then you already have that by default, even before you start. With money getting, some of the business moves that we've made recently, we're going against a marketing agency that doesn't have any idea about traffic, and so we can come in and offer marketing, for one of our clients, and we're going against people who have no idea how to drive traffic to that offer. So
Traffic schmaffic.
You know,
No, I'm joking.
yeah.
I'm joking. No, I agree. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'd like you to give a sense for people who've never been a star football player, like what it's like, because you probably ran up against some cornerbacks, some safeties who were literally very skillful, who knew the routes and who had trained and who were focused, and they had the eye of the tiger, and they listened to, they were just fired up and blah blah blah, and you just would run over them. I mean, did that ever happen?
Oh no, that's actually some of the more fulfilling things you get to do on the field when you come up against somebody who believes they are the most skillful. I would have loved to go against Sherman, actually, just to see what it was like.
Because you look at him and you think he's kind of small.
Yeah, he's not. He's like 6'1", I think. He's a pretty tall cornerback.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's still like one of the things in sport where it's it's a team sport, but it's really a one-on-one situation with the receiver and the defensive back. And you know, in those situations, you have to rely on what you think you have the advantage on.
Yeah.
And so if it's skill, you have to go with skill. But that, you know, unless your skill is good enough to keep someone from running and they're faster than you, then you're going to lose that battle all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really a big deal. So if the quarterback, just to make it very simple for you non-football people, Fletch, how tall are you?
I'm 6'4".
So listen, let's say I'm trying to cover you. I played a little bit of safety my senior year. I'm trying to cover you. I'm 5'9". Okay, I'm trying to cover Fletch guys, and I'm not saying it can't, that I couldn't influence things or make it a little more difficult for him. But what does a quarterback have to do to make it so Fletch can catch the ball and I can't? Oh, Angela's on. We can bring Angela on. Somebody got her on. That's cool. We'll make Angela an organizer. Just send out an email. We should send out an OMG way email about Angela.
They can't hide from us.
Sorry. So what? Yeah, I know. We will assimilate you. Resistance is futile. So what does the quarterback have to do? Come on, guys. Let's get some action out there. What do you got to say about that? Anybody? Not one person. Literally, like normally I'm joking when I say not one person, and usually there's like all these number ones and so forth. Take him out at the knees. No, what I'm saying is, yeah, there you go. Scott Davis said, throw it over my head. Right, I'm 5'9". Fletch is 6'4". So throw the ball right up around the 7-foot mark. Okay, and there you go. Right there we go. Yeah, exactly. If the quarterback just throws the ball up higher, then that's it. It's like cheating, except it's completely inside of the rules. So Fletch, from your standpoint, when you are going up against an agency, and you and Cotton and Daryl and Carrie and Angela, all kinds of OMGs are doing this. Of course, we have lots of people making money with affiliate. You're a multiple streams of income guy yourself, so you make plenty of money with affiliate and some of your own offers and stuff like that. But when you are in that arena, arena where you're head to head, against an agency, the agency's trying to play defense, and you're like, okay, well, I don't know what you got going on, but I'm bringing traffic. What's that like?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's actually the analogy that you have with, a receiver and a defensive back is actually, it works on a whole nother level as well, which is being on offense. If you're on defense, you're expected to not let the receiver have one big play the entire game. And if you do, you give up a touchdown, you may lose because of it. As a receiver, you only have to win one play a game to potentially win the entire game. And so it's kind of that way with us as well, because we don't have to beat agencies every time, because we are, smaller lots of the time and are able to, get ourselves in the right position. Even one time a month, you get a new client every month and keep that client happy. Every year you're going to be growing your income, 6 figures plus, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. I actually gave an impromptu speech at OMG Live Nashville, and I likened what we're doing here to playing a football game where we've always got the ball, always. Where no matter what happens, you turn the ball over, whatever, you just get it right back, and you could just keep trying and trying and trying and trying. And a big part of that is the OMG way. The OMG way has to do. One of the things about the OMG way is being lean and mean, keeping costs low, and yet having the in a lot of ways the infrastructure, the energy, the commitment, the design of. I mean, there is no agency, there is no advertising agency out there that is equally designed to OMG. It's not even close. There's no advertising agency out there. People say, oh, what about Google? Well, first of all, that's arguable. I don't really want to get into whether, Greg and Jimmy and Russell and Sue and so many OMGers that are, chiming in, like, Derek Wasiak and just so many other just brilliant SEO minds that we have involved. Maybe we're better than Google, maybe we're not. I mean, a little bit's the design of the game. But anyways, we don't have to be Google. This is the old, bear in the woods thing. Ivan and Boris are walking along in the forest, and they run up against an angry mama bear. And Ivan sits down and he starts taking off his hiking boots and starts lacing up his running shoes. And Boris says, "Ivan, what are you doing? You can't outrun a bear." And Boris says, you're crazy. And Ivan says, I never said anything about outrunning a bear, right? Said, people, you should know this joke. Because why? Because Ivan's going to outrun Boris, right? And the
Right.
bear is going to get Boris. So the bear is Google, right? The bear will catch Boris, and Ivan will, just be skating along. Anyways, my point is, we're not really competing with Google whatsoever. In fact, we're basically working with Google. We aren't understanding it. But in some cases, we are competing with ad agencies, and it's not pretty. It's just not pretty. It's not close. The design is there, the commitment is there. Do you think that the individual, Fletch, let me just ask you this. Do you think that the individual sales guy or SEO coordinator or even secretary working at an ad agency has the same city on a hill fire and commitment and closeness and incentive as OMGers do?
Oh no, not at all. I've actually been. I had an ad agency that's in town here the director of kind of their online marketing division, somebody that I knew. So I actually had some privilege to get to sit down while they vetted out like SEO fulfillment. And the people who were selling the SEO fulfillment were they were salespeople, and they were like, well, if you don't give me good leads with SEO, I'll go and sell, door to door, rain gutter clean outs and stuff. And when you're going up against somebody who doesn't have really a vested interest or an expertise level in explaining the technology, and even more than that, explaining the benefits of implementing the stuff, it's not an even playing field. When you can come at a situation not from a bunch of different angles, whether it's the technical stuff that you're going to do with SEO, but even more than that, really what it means to their business and what their experience is going to be like when they've got this stuff going. It's really another unfair advantage. I've seen some of the people that were put in those situations that at the end of the day are like, well, this just probably isn't the right offer for us. When they have to go kind of head to head with people who do have that knowledge and have that fire and passion and are really able to kind of call the shots and be like adaptability, like that most recent video that David put out on law of implication, I thought was really key, because when you come in, with the tool set and with the passion that we have, it really lends itself well to that exact, kind of attack strategy, which is I'm going to come in and this is what I can do, and I can outmaneuver you all day long.
Yeah, I love that, Fletch. And I'll say the other thing is we're just selling better SEO.
Yeah, well, that's true too. We got
not
better
even
products.
close. No, it was funny. I wasn't really even thinking about it until you brought up the agency. This is one of the things that got Becker into SEO and then ultimately led him to OMG. Was he was actually working at an agency, and it was just shocking to him. It was shocking because there was no. It's like you imagine if you work at a top restaurant, you figure it's about like the food and the service and all that kind of stuff, right? But if you go behind the scenes and the talk is about something completely different, people just aren't even thinking about the food and the service and all that kind of stuff, promoting the restaurant or whatever. They're just thinking about, again, it's almost hard. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of an absurdity. So it's actually a bit hard for me to come up with an example. It's like being on a football team and the coach is obsessed with ballet. I don't even know. I'm sorry. I guess ballet could somehow help because you could be more coordinated. But my point is that to be a part of an SEO agency, but what you're saying to me, Fletch, is it's not the passion is not for SEO. The passion is not for the success of the people that you're serving. It's you're talking about a bunch of paycheck players.
But you're talking like an unfair advantage, just like Fletcher was saying. He was bigger and we're smarter, and we just have that unfair advantage, including the confidence to tell people what we have. I have a guy that's been doing IT work for the government for 25 years. I've mentioned it before. He builds websites 24 hours a day. That's what he does. And he literally comes to me and wants to know, what are you doing? You do something I don't even know what, I thought I knew all this stuff, but you get sites to rank like above the sites that I build and he said, we need to sit down and talk. So, I mean, and I was a beginner, so I really didn't know what the other world thought or the other companies thought. I just learned the OMG way. But once you find out that this confidence that you get from learning this way, I mean, it overshadows all the competition.
Yeah. Let's pull this up. So you're in Pensacola. So if we do embroidery, would it
And I
be?
can't see your screen, Mike. Where's it at?
Oh my goodness! Am I not showing my screen? This whole
I see it.
You do see me? Yeah. Okay, great. So you see it. So if I do, is it embroidery Pensacola? Is that a decent term?
Yeah, or Pensacola. I like to put in my domain name as what I figure people would look for in a quick moment on their phone. If you're looking for an embroidery in Pensacola, you're going to put embroidery Pensacola or Pensacola embroidery. It'll work either way.
Okay, great. So this is you on PensacolaEmbroidery.net, and Liquid Airwear is actually the site that this engineer made for you, right?
Yeah, he made the site.
And it ranks, but it's way below where you are.
Right. Go figure.
Yeah, I love it. That's great. So, okay, great. So it's a little bit of a jump start to things, and I'm just kind of fired up today because I'll tell you, it's not even that I'm making an argument that smaller is better. I'm not saying that. That's the whole wacky thing about this OMG situation. I mean, we are smaller where it pays to be smaller, or at least like smaller in cost, smaller in red tape, because red tape gets in the way of maneuverability. If you need to make a change, Daryl, you have, how many clients do you have at this point? 20? 25?
28.
You have 28 clients. If Greg hands down a crucial change to you, you don't have to go through 3 layers of red tape to put that change into your client's sites. You just do it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I've trained my manager. She's a graphic artist in my embroidery business. We set her up another station, a computer, and I trained her how to do WordPress. And now I'll give her all the login names, and if something comes up I need to change, she'll just take a list and run down them and change them all. It takes her just a few minutes, but yeah, we can adjust on the fly. Whereas, I got another client that came the other day, and he'd been trying to talk to GoDaddy about fixing something for 2 weeks. He can't talk to anybody.
Well, I mean, talk to somebody about selling him some more crap.
Yeah. Upsell. That they have the upsell market.
Oh yeah.
So we can adjust in hours.
Yeah. So we're nimble, right? We're not like this big lumbering Hulk. But the funny thing is, I've got Marshawn Lynch up here. I mean, OMGers, you've really got the power. You've really, really got the power. Carrie, you and I collaborated just a little bit. I really got to watch you over your shoulder as you picked up, a $100,000 client a few weeks back, towards the end of 2014, and I actually had occasion to talk to the client, just based on the circumstances and how things came together, and he felt like you were a powerhouse. I mean, this is a guy who expedited a check right to your front door. He actually sent a check by courier for $18,000 to your front door because he was just that excited.
That is correct. And originally they were trying to bring SEO in house and try to manage it in house. And so I flipped them all the way out of that into paying a lot more than they ever thought or considered until they met me.
Yeah, but they're paying for power. They weren't paying because they thought, oh, he's nimble, he can make fast changes. They probably weren't even thinking about that in this particular case. They're paying because you can bring a lot of traffic.
They were paying because I'm the Marshawn Lynch of SEO.
I like it. I brought Angela came live, and I made her an organizer. Let me find out if Angela's there. I'm just kind of curious. Angela, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Angela, how you doing? I sent out an OMG Way email about you today. Did you know that?
Hey, I saw that. I was like, hey.
Yeah. You are. You're on the attack. Somebody said that you're. I think someone said in the thread that you're like unstoppable. I think that was.
Wow.
That was what they said.
I like that. Unstoppable. That's a good thing to be.
So
Cool.
you have been on the warpath, and I know that you've been doing a bunch of different, making a bunch of different moves and making a lot of headway. Somebody was wondering about these most recent clients from this most recent meeting. Did you do you want to share any insight on that, or let people know a little bit about what's going on there?
Yeah, sure. So I go to a networking group every Thursday, and I joined so that I could get leads and clients for my SEO business, and it took me a really, really long time to get anybody to send me any clients because everybody there either has been taken advantage of by some SEO guy or knows somebody that's been taken advantage of by some SEO guy. So they kind of don't believe me. So what I did was I just started ranking stuff for people in the group for free. I figured, listen, if I can't get paid for it, I'm just going to give it away, right? So I started doing stuff for them for free, and then I would stand up, because we all get an opportunity during the meeting to talk about our business. So I would stand up and to tell them what I did, and I said, oh, I'd like to congratulate so-and-so on their page 1 ranking. And they would go, what? I got a page 1 ranking? I'm like, yeah, I ranked a video for you on page 1. I'll show it to you after the meeting. So people started getting interested after that. And so what I did was I found stuff that I could use as proof, right? So I just decided that, I was going to find something that I could do easily and cheaply to use as proof, and then people would start referring me business, I figured, and it worked. So, people have hired me to do video ranking. People have hired me to do, now I'm offering social media services that I can do inexpensively and make a good profit on. For me, it's a great way to get a foot in the door when you say, here, I did this for you. Because when you do stuff for people, they go, oh my gosh, well, I should probably do something for her. Oh, and look at this great video that she made for me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it is ranking on page 1.
Well,
I had one guy stand up and say, yeah, I want to thank Angela for that video. She had my phone ringing in 3 days.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, and the thing is, Angela, it's also a question of confidence. I mean, when you see it in Google, it's one thing for you to theoretically know it, but even something as quote unquote simple as getting a video ranked, I say quote unquote simple because for you at this point, it's getting to be old hat. Like you know it now, but it's like we've all been to that, like to a convenience store or to a fast food restaurant or some, a regular restaurant where the person up front, where we ask a question that's, something that's confusing us, and the person at the cash register or the attendant or whatever kind of rolls their eyes and they're like, oh, you're like the 57th person that asked that question. And then they're like, dude, such and such. And you're thinking to yourself, well, it's the first time I've asked the question, I mean, what the hell, I mean, so it's new to me. The reason I bring that up is that to you, Angela, like you could psychologically, and I know you've overcome this, but to you psychologically, you could feel like, well, ranking video, I know how to do this. It's old hat. You could feel that way, but you need to kind of, one of the skills in SEO is recognizing, no, wait a second, this is special. This is different, and it is an old hat. Just because OMGers right and left are doing this stuff doesn't mean that people in the real world, because you just told us what the real world's like. The real world's like people have gotten burned again and again and again by SEOs.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Can we? Angela's on as an organizer, and she just came on completely impromptu to share with us today. Would you please give give Angela some thank yous and some applause and some some love. Give her some OMG love. Yeah. Well, thanks, Angela's rolling in. Thank you from Andrew, Scott, John. See, somebody's asking. Oh yeah, Joanne, rinse, repeat. Yeah. Oh wow, lots of thank yous coming in. Awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, Angela, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
Oh goodness. Well, I hope the Seahawks do. I mean, I'm from the Northwest, right? So.
Yeah. OMGers are going to win.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Just saying. Kyle says the Ravens. We've got some very confused OMGers. Actually, this makes me feel good that there's so few people who even know who's in the Super Bowl, because I know you've had your noses to the grindstone with your OMG stuff.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's why.
Yeah,
Angela,
no,
thank
I don't really care about the Super Bowl. I care about people showing me the money.
you. Show me the money.
Money.
All right, let's give Angela a show me the money. That's great. I love it, Angela. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing with us today.
Hey, thanks for
Congratulations.
having me on, Mike. It's nice to get some lovies and recognition, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it definitely matters, and obviously it's also well, I was going to say, Hortense says, "Thank you, very encouraging." It really is encouraging. Yeah, absolutely, great.
And you know, it's little things like that. When you do stuff for free for people and you do it well, then they know, that you're not full of it. They know you're going to do a good job for them because you did it for free.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that's interesting is, and David Mills talked about this all the way back when we were getting started with OMG. It's something that you don't want to lose track of. Really conveying to people that you're passionate about. I mean, give me a number one if you genuinely feel like you are just genuinely to the depth of your heart passionate about at least some aspect of what we're doing with OMG, like passionate about free traffic, Google rankings, seeing customers succeed, or helping somebody in a niche, helping somebody with, if you're doing affiliate marketing, maybe you really, really want to help somebody with, a physical condition or get in better shape, find love, something like there's some, maybe you have a product that you're selling people and that you really, yeah. So I mean, it's really, Angela, you can confirm just a lot of number ones and a lot of comments where people are fired up about something, right? Is that true?
Yeah. And when I get up and talk about online marketing, another thing I do at this meeting too is I'm always giving people tips about social media, about how to get their business on Yelp. In fact, I did SEO splitting the last week. Okay, people are wondering, well, how did I get these clients? I just did Cotton's SEO splitting. I offered to create their social pages for them for a souvenir portrait of Andy Jackson, $20 bill, right? And I got 7 people, and another woman too that wanted me to do that for them. Now these people are going to have social media business pages. Do you think that maybe some of them are going to buy my social media packages, my very affordable social media packages? Probably.
I do. Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
So I'm kind of taking the SEO splitting and like rolling it into more work, which is exactly what Cotton taught. So thank you, Cotton.
Yeah. Yeah. Cotton the Hammer Grammar.
Cotton the Hammer Grammar. Yeah. Jimmy Kelly, Cotton the Hammer Grammar.
That's great, Angela. Thank you so much for coming on.
I got one of those weird names. I don't know what you're going to call me.
Oh, well, I'll find you something. I'll find you something. Make no mistake. Angela, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you. But feel free to hang on and chime in as you like.
Great. Okay, thanks.
All right, great. All right. Well, what I want to do is I think that is everyone having fun so far? We're about 45 minutes in today. Is everyone having a good time? Give me a number one if you're having a good time. Want to make sure it was a little bit more chatty and conversational at the beginning there, but that is okay. So what I want to do is I want to pull up. Let's see. I want to pull up a members area here. And I'm logging into Project Breakthrough here. And this is going to be decently similar to what you got if you joined us in 2014 for Project Juggernaut, or Project X, pardon me. Sorry about that. And what I want to do here is I want to scroll down to Daryl. Daryl, are you hanging on with us here?
Yeah, I'm sitting here. I can't see your screen. I can't figure it out. Well, I've been clicking on everything. I don't know where it went.
What's happening. So you can't see my screen. All right.
Me.
I don't know how to fix that, actually. All right. Well, anyways, I'm in. You've seen Daryl Ferguson explaining website setup for new OMGers. You've seen that in your Project J members area, correct? The where we placed your videos on
Yeah, I've
simple
seen it.
website creation. So
Yeah.
walk us through. I know you can't see what's on my screen, but of course you can kind of understand what's involved because you made the videos in the first place. What is
Yeah,
this
I got it
video?
memorized.
Yeah, I know you do. So what is this video series about? And then you got something coming soon for us. Talk to us about
Yeah.
what this video series is about.
Well, and originally, I was sitting there, and I wanted to figure out what was the easiest way for a beginner to learn this, because I know one of the problems I had when I got into it was the little bit of learning curve just to get started that most of the internet marketers already know. So I said, if I wanted to start totally basic and I didn't know, what could I put together for somebody that just came in so they could get a website built, get some confidence going? What did I need to know? And I assumed, and we might have to ask the audience if they did, if they knew how to, go find a place, buy a domain, and get it up and running. I'm wondering, number one, does everybody know how to go buy a domain name, research it, pick out a word in their niche, find a niche, and buy a domain? Is that something everybody would know, Mike? And I can't see. You're going to have to ask the question.
Yeah, it looks like looks like a fair number of people at this point have got it. Although some of them, how many people? Give me number one if you've already looked at Daryl's explaining website setup for new OMGers. Give me number one if you've looked at that, because Daryl, I've seen a lot of comments that you've forwarded to me. Yeah, a lot of people have looked at it. By the way, a lot of people have looked at it. I've seen
And
a
that's
lot of
what I
positive. You've
needed.
gotten a lot of positive comments from people about this. What have people been telling you?
Well, it came. If you already know how to build a website and a WordPress blog, it's not a big thing, and you might not need to go there. But I mean, for the I didn't know there's probably 10 or 15 people personally IM'd me and said it's something they needed. So, and not that we don't already teach it in the OMG group. Everybody teaches it a little bit different, but I just wanted something simple, get in, get their feet on the ground, and learn, how to buy a domain name. And actually, so the 5 videos I have up is how to install WordPress, and every cPanel that you use to install WordPress is a little bit different. But then again, they're all about the same. And then the second one was, once you do it, how to configure WordPress. And these are just 7-8 minute videos, but I did go real slow and just show you click here, and then the third one was how to install a theme. And I looked around through many themes, and I know Greg talks about some things for your PBNs, and it's somewhat different than finding a good theme that works for me in a local business. And most of my clients are small businesses that need help, and I just happen to be there to do it. And I own an embroidery company with 400 people or customers. They all have small businesses, so I have an unfair advantage in being able to contact customers, because they come in the door, they already have my trust, and we look at their website, and 9 out of 10 of them have something that needs fixing. So I have an unfair advantage in that aspect. But the third video was theme installation, how to install the WordPress theme. I found local business, and I pointed it out in the videos of where that is. And it was a little deceiving for me. I know it took me, and I consider myself pretty nerdy, so to speak, and you do too, Mike, from what I've heard. And so installing this local theme was a little bit hard to figure out. So I went through the theme installation, and then how to configure the theme and set it up so that in the site you just showed everybody that I can't see, the Pensacola embroidery was set up with that WordPress theme. And then my last one, the 5th video, is installing the plugins you need to help SEO in the background, the SEO pack, everything that Google gives you. Like I put the the Google Maps widget in there. Google likes to see, from what I've found out, your other stuff, such as make sure they have a YouTube video. I don't care if I tell my customer, do a 1.5-minute video. If you don't want to do it, we'll do it right here while you're standing. We're talking about, we want a 1.5-minute, 2-minute video. We're going to upload it to your YouTube channel, and we're going to embed it in your site. Google likes it. Well, I don't know exactly. I haven't done a lot of testing. I just know that of the 28 sites I've built, I've got one that's not on the first page of Google, and I'm still working on it. So I do know what I'm doing, along with the philosophy of the OMG group, is working. So that was the first 5 videos. If everybody's got that, watch them.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
gonna
that
go.
most everybody has it. I'm noticing that there may be some confusion with podcasters. I'll make sure after the fact that that it's. I'll double check and make sure it's in the members areas. But yeah, we got a lot of thank yous, and I also think that even if you're still getting started, but you're not quite an expert, could really bear to review some of Daryl's videos, because he's got a very easygoing style. It's very relaxing, and yet quite insightful. Especially with this theme and so forth. Because, like, for example, one of the things that you focus in on is that mobile. The mobile devices. I've got my iPhone right here, and when things, when I'm searching for something, if I'm in a different city, if I go to Chicago, or if I go to Las Vegas or something like that, and I'm looking around for something, then I'm looking on my mobile device for sure. I'm not likely to be looking for my computer. I guess if I'm back at a hotel room or something like that, I might look on my computer. But regardless, with that mobile design, your sites, when they're coming up, it's great. Like, when you click on the site, right there is your phone number, front and center, and that's something that you really focus in on this theme.
Yeah, well, actually, what really got me started is one of my customers owns a towing company, and he ranked. I think he was on the 13th page of Google, and he said, we need to get help, and I explained to him and show him the theme, and as you were speaking, the phone number pops right up. I said, let's picture you're on a, you're going down the interstate, you break down. What are you thinking? You've got your phone, and he said, but you also, when you pull up your website, and we pulled up 3 or 4 other people's website, after you scan around, there is a number, but you're broke down. You don't have a pencil, you don't have something to write on, it's dark. So what if you could, let's say there's somebody that was a little bit higher than you. Let's say you were ranked 3rd, but they hit yours, and there's a phone number, and they tapped it, and it dials it. And he said, that's the kind of thing I'm thinking, instantaneous feedback for a customer that needs help now. So continuing on with the theme, yeah. So there's millions of themes. This one works for me, and I know pretty much everything about it, and I don't have a problem with anybody, Facebooking me if they have a question on it. But the videos, what I'm going to do is go a couple of videos. I'm probably put 5 or 6 more videos, a couple of them into the how to get customers. I have people walking in the door. So
let's preview, because we did a little preview of this up and coming. A few acceleration webinars back, we did a preview, and now here it is. We did a preview of your explaining web setup for new OMGer series. We previewed that, and now, boom, it's here in your members area. You've got a new module coming out, and this is built from your experience selling customers. And you're 67 years young, and in that time, you've made a few moves of your own. You've learned a thing or two, something that you've used to help. I mean, gosh, did you say 28 clients?
Yes, 28 right now. I mean, it's growing so fast because I'm thinking of more ways to come up with client building. But
I was going to say, you've already run out of fingers and toes. I don't know what you're doing to keep track of these. Once you get past 20, it's just it's anybody's guess. But you actually had a background in selling cars. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I was 33 years in car business. I trained salesmen to sell Chevrolets.
So tell me about selling a Chevrolet. Like sell me a Chevrolet. Like what's that experience like? Because people might think it's easy or hard or whatever to sell cars. I don't know what. Give me a number one if you feel like, if you were put in a situation tomorrow or even today, right now, where you had to sell somebody a Chevrolet, how many people feel like they'd be pretty nervous doing that? Give me a number one if you feel like you'd be pretty nervous. Yeah, we're getting lots and lots of number ones. I think I would be too. I don't know if I could sell. Actually, literally, I don't know if I could sell a Chevrolet, which is something. I mean, I've sold millions of dollars worth of stuff online, but not really out of the box. I mean, so if I was coming to you as a fresh, wet behind the ears sales trainee for selling Chevrolets, what are some of the fundamentals that you'd want me to have in place that might transfer over to this client SEO situation?
Well, the number one thing is honesty, and most salesmen come there thinking that they're going to have to lie, cheat, steal, and get it done. But the key is to learn your product. Okay, the first thing that I used to train them, we'd bring on 8 or 10 people at a time and train them, and 2 or 3 would make it through the training, and we'd literally give them probably 3 weeks of training. But the key is, if you walk out to a customer and you don't know their product, every time you got to turn around and run back to the sales manager and ask him, okay, this customer's asked me this, what do I do? The third time you do that, that customer is no longer interested in you. So the first thing you need to do, and everybody goes like, how do I convince people? You don't know. Learn your product. And so I took the same mentality when I got with OMG. The first thing you need to do is spend hours, and it took quite a while to learn the product. Once you know how to do
car you sold the
SEO.
most of in all those years, in 33 years? What was your favorite car to sell?
Well, I had 16 Corvettes, so in Pensacola I led the market, and people came to me to buy Corvettes because I owned them and I knew them. See, there again, I knew the car, so they'd come to me. But
All right, so let me pull up a picture of a Corvette. Tell us about, because I know this may seem like it's a little bit off. I'm gonna pull up a Corvette Stingray because my friend's mom, when I was in elementary school, she had one of these, and it was I thought it was the coolest car. So, let's say, I walk onto the lot, now or 10 years ago or whatever, and you're selling Stingray Corvettes, and I'm looking at it, and you walk up to me. What would that? Can you take me through a little bit about what that experience would be like, Daryl? Because I think that seeing the Corvette sail through your eyes, since you're so experienced with it, and then we'll probably be able to extract some things when it comes to what you're doing with OMG.
Right. Well, I mean, you walk out to a customer with a Corvette. The first thing you want to do, obviously, you want to introduce yourself and become familiar. And everybody tells me, including my girlfriend, that I'll never meet a stranger because there's so many things to talk about. The first thing I'd want to do is I want to get them talking. You look sharp. I like that suit coat you have on. Where'd you get it? I like the shoes you have on. Mm-hmm. You automatically take the curse off of that. Oh my God, here comes another salesman. I'm really not ready for this.
All right. So I say to you, okay, I got my, let's walk through this a little bit, like a little role playing here. So I got my, I got actually the suit and the shoes. I got them both in Vegas. I got them at the, at Emporio Armani. That's where I got them.
Yeah, and I've got a set of them at home. I don't wear them very much, but I bought some myself. So obviously, you're a man of, you instantly can build the person up. Anybody. You can pick whatever it is from whatever level.
You are very positive about people, just genuinely very positive about the potential of people you meet, Daryl. One of the things I've learned about you is that you really believe that people, you believe in people.
Yeah, and the only thing they lack is the confidence, and everybody goes, where do you get the confidence? The confidence comes from knowing your product, and of course knowing how to, I train people that, people are 4 different categories: plotters, toters, controllers, and doers. So you need to figure out what kind of person this is as quickly as possible, so that you know what is going to be something they'd want to hear from you when you start talking to him on your sales pitch. But I might spend 4 or 5 minutes before we even start talking about the car. I literally wait until they go, well, God, can you help me with this car? So then the barrier is broke down. It's the same way with client getting. You meet these people, you can't go into the sales pitch first off. They've got an instant, God, he's trying to sell me life insurance. I don't want to talk to him. So you've got to break that curse instantly and turn that around, if you understand what I'm saying.
I do, and I get the sense, Daryl, in talking to you that you're not counting the seconds until they finally bring up the car or the SEO. You're genuinely enjoying the conversation the whole time.
Yeah, well, you and Cotton had the video that was a great job that you did down in Tampa, and you were talking about walking into the dealership, and he was talking about the velvet rope technique.
Mhm.
And these people that you went, when you were looking for your car, you went through it because they were highly skilled in this mindset. Didn't you? Said you experienced that?
I did.
So that was the key. The key when I trained a salesman, was learn your product ins and outs. So you know more about your product than anybody.
So tell me some things about a Corvette that I might not have known.
They're fast.
How fast?
I had, I'm not a speedster. I had one at 180 miles an hour, but the rest of them I just cruised around.
You drove a car 180 miles an hour?
Yeah, but I'm getting it was one of the Z06 we had on the lot, and we were selling it. And but I'm going to get the new Stingray.
Are you about to? You're going to get a new one?
Yeah, I've got a 2008 now, but I'm going to get a new Stingray and keep this one too.
Yeah. So tell me some more things about Stingray. What do I need to know about the new one coming out? Why are you going to buy it?
Well, the key to a Corvette compared to other sports cars is weighting. You have a couple of things people are interested in. The weight to power ratio is a big thing in how fast it's going to go. The control of when they get to that speed, the traction control system that a Corvette has that senses when your back tires are going to spin. So when you push the button in, you don't burn the tires. It gives all the power it can give to the rear tires without giving any extra and making you losing traction. So the skid control and the traction control in a Corvette is beyond thing. The weighting, it's about a 50-50 weighting. So that makes the handling better. And I could just go on and on. I mean,
how many people want to buy a Corvette a lot more than before this webinar? Give me number one if you're feeling Corvettes like a lot more, because I know I am. Yeah, Andrew Grenzman, got Brad Walker.
Well,
Cal.
now that they learn OMG, they can make the money to get one.
That's great. That's great. What's that? Somebody.
Who's it?
I don't know. Somebody wants the Dodge Viper. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, you've got a fiberglass body, it doesn't rust. You've got a handling package that's off the chart. I mean, look at originally when the Corvette came out and the Thunderbird were in neck and neck in the 60s, and Ford decided to change the Thunderbird and make it a completely different style. But you'll notice the Corvette really hadn't changed in any of the generations much. So you got a car that literally holds its value, well, better than anything Chevrolet makes. So I could buy one at cost, which I did because I was a sales manager. I could drive it a year, put 5,000 or 6,000 miles on it, and sell it for more than I paid for it. So it's a good investment. And when you drive a Corvette, people are going to wave at you. Other Corvettes, it's something. Driving a Corvette is not like driving any other car. It's more like an experience.
How many people are able to give me a number one if you're distilling something out of what because this is really what I wanted out of Daryl. My ulterior motive in getting him on here was to get him to talk about Stingrays. I didn't tell him that, but
you didn't tell me that.
No, I didn't tell him that. But give me number one if you understand why I wanted Daryl to talk about Stingrays. That's great. Ann says, what color is your Corvette going to be? That's great.
White.
Yeah, I think it's literally very valuable because he's so passionate about it. He knows so much about it, right? Exactly. He's passionate. He's into it, and wants to know if it's going to be a convertible.
No, I don't do convertibles. I've had one in 16 was a convertible, and I went ahead and bought another coupe. I mean, it's a great car. It's still weighted well, and it still has the power. But I mean, I'm just not a convertible guy. I'd ride my Harley. If I want to be open, I'll ride my Harley.
Love it. How many OMGers are really looking forward to Daryl's module on turning these simple websites into paychecks? I mean, number one, if you're fired up about that. Yeah, you got to bribe. If you want Daryl Financial Factory Ferguson to go out there and go to bat for you, you better bribe him with some love. You seeing this, Daryl? Oh, you're not seeing this.
Yeah, I guess, in fact, I've only had like 8 computers, but I just told my girlfriend I got a a 17-inch Acer I had around the shop to bring over there that I was telling you about, and
Yeah.
actually I'm gonna go as soon as we close before we go to the ball night. I'm gonna go buy me a new laptop.
Yeah,
I didn't.
you know what I think about those PCs? They're good for playing video games. That's it. Of
You
course,
like Macs?
I do, I do. But David Mills tells me it's okay. You know, I got to be wrong or something.
Wait a minute, David's a
Yeah,
PC
I
guy.
definitely think you're wrong about that.
Hey, are you on my side, Kerry?
I'm a PC guy.
Bill's a PC.
Yeah, I am. I mean, but this one here is just it's too slow, but I need, like I got 3 at the shop, 3 at the house, 2 here, but I need one more. So my girlfriend said, "Why do you need one more?" I said, "I just have a thing I need to do once in a while that I need it for."
Carrie, can you corroborate since Gerald can't see the feedback here? What kind of feedback has he been getting about this upcoming sales module?
I'd say he better hurry up.
Well, I mean,
lot of
what's funny is
excitement there.
I put the meat and potatoes there first, just to get started. But I've got, and also search engine or website optimizing. That was my next one, because I'm going to do 2 or 3 videos just on that, because I didn't point out, the video the website you showed of Pensacola Embroidery. There's behind the scenes stuff that make it rank real good before you even plug in a PBN. And in most cases, depending on the niche, I can get it ranking on the first page of Google with just this information. And then if you got a bigger niche that's going to be a little tougher, you can crank some PBNs in. But for instance, here's some of the things that's going to come up. I made a list optimizing your website. Underline, bold, italic, and your keywords. Google likes to see in a 300 to 400 word page, and I like to put 3 to 4 pages on a website. You want your keyword bolded, italicized, and underlined at least twice in each 300 to 500 word thing, and then you change up the order of them so it doesn't look spammy. Pensacola Embroidery, you might put, this is the best embroidery place in Pensacola, but you go ahead and make sure that those keywords are definitely the 3 things, bolded, italicized, and underlined, on your 300 to 400 word articles, and have about 3 of them. And this is what's going to be coming up in a new video. Build links to the pages and adjust display text. So I got a little trick that you can put if somebody wants to put 7 or 8 pages up there in the tab bar. You can add more and hide what it actually says so it doesn't overlap. We'll figure that out. And writing some HTML code. A lot of people are afraid when they hear that. The 2 or 3 pages that you make, you have the editor from WordPress to do your bolding and whatnot. It's a regular editor, but when you go to the bottom section of the site I'm using, you might have to learn just a few HTML code, like bold, line break, and just a few codes. It'll show them how they can fix up the areas that's not in the WordPress editor, and you can do this on any of the WordPress blogs. Outbound link, I like to have at least one outbound link to an authority site on each page so that Google sees that outbound link. And then the video I pointed out before, you've got to have it optimized by going through YouTube and then embedding it in your website, your Google Maps widget. And these are just a little behind the things that have worked for me to get, just with these things that I'm teaching right here, probably 18 to 20 of the sites are on the first page of Google without any PBNs. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, how to finish up the optimizing, and then I'm going to really get into this client getting, because I've really been spending a lot of time thinking about, how does somebody that's just starting, number one, they've learned. Now, how do you go get a client? Because, I train salesmen. I know how hard it is for people that are trained to go out and talk to a customer. Some people are literally scared to death to do that, and I understand it. Once you have the confidence in knowing your product and how to rank a site, then it's easier to talk to people. So, we're gonna show you how to start small. I'm bring in another video on what I did when I first started. I didn't have time to really go talk to customers, so I built 2 or 3 sites in niches that I knew people were looking for in my town, and I literally built the site and I ranked it on the first page of Google. And then on the top of it, it says for sale or lease. And I would have a call here, and people would call me and go, "What's this about?" You know, I'm a painting contractor. I'm on the fourth page of Google. Now that I looked, I didn't know what that meant to go look, because I didn't even use Google to look. But you've got a site up there. It's already ranking. And how do I buy that site? So, you know, I'd sell them from $700 to $1,500. I'd sell them a site that's already built and it's already working. I didn't have to, they called me, sort of the cotton philosophy. And I'm going to show you how to do that and how to set up a site where you can instantly get somebody to buy the site, or you can rent them the site. You know, you don't want to buy the site for $1,500. I tell you what, you give me $200 a month, and you know, we'll set up a phone call where the phone goes through my site to you, and that way I can track how many calls they're getting, and everybody's a win. If that makes sense, Mike.
Yeah, it sure does. I think people are real excited to hear about that. And in addition, Daryl, you've got a real passion. You've been trying to cook up a challenge for people where you're going to try to give a little bit of an extra boost. You want to see a number of OMGers hit $10,000 per month. You really believe they can do it. You did it.
Yeah, I'm sitting there the other day, and I said, Mike's going to go crazy when he sees this, but I'm just sort of sitting here now. You know, what would be, you know, and I've always trained people to go make money, so it's, I guess that's just the nature of the beast. And I started that thread the other day of I got about 42 people, and their names are actually written down on a piece of paper beside me. And I don't know how I'm going to orchestrate getting the training to them. And you're going to have to help me with that. But I really think that if they're interested, they can get to 10,000 a month in 2015.
Where's that thread? That thread's in the OMG Beginner Acceleration and Support Group. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, great. So head over to the OMG Beginner Acceleration Support Group, and you can chime in on Daryl's thread if you're interested. We have a number of people who sound like they're real excited about that. Ted says he's actually on the way to 10K. That's great. It's great, Ted. Let me know how it's going. So head over to the OMG Beginner Acceleration and Support Group. If you're not already a member of that, then you can message me on Facebook. Make sure that we're friends. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Icarus, which is my video game character name. That's awesome.
You found a red one.
Yeah, I
finally seen it, the Corvette.
Yeah, it's right there. No, it looks real nice. So this is how to add me on Facebook if you're not already a member of that beginner thread. And remember, by the way, speaking of the Super Bowl, we've got tomorrow coming up. We've got Sunday Fun Day, which is a text only. It's all text. It's a non-webinar. Today is a webinar. This is a webinar, Webby. Tomorrow we'll have Sunday Fun Day. Sunday Fun Day. And that's Gregory Ortiz is a little bit of a ringleader around this, although I've seen lots of people jump in on it. Daryl's jumped in on it, and Fletch has jumped in on it, and Carrie's jumped in on it, and a bunch of others have jumped in on it, Cotton, to help people out. But it's a rapid fire Q&A that's in your beginners acceleration and support groups. That's another reason to be involved with your beginners acceleration support group. We try to have it be a lot of fun. It's at 4 p.m. Eastern time. It's plenty of time to get it done before your Super Bowl prep. You know, before you got to break off to watch the Seahawks narrowly edge the Patriots, and and it should be sorry, it might be a 20-point blowout. I don't know. It's one, but you know that's a couple reasons for you to jump in there. If you're not already friends with me on Facebook, just add me on facebook.com/Icarus. And I'll put you in that group. You got to message me and so forth once you've added me as a friend, and I'll get you in that group. And what we want to do now, been on for about an hour and 15 minutes. Everybody having a good time? Give me number one if you're still having a good time. And number one if you're still fired up. David Duncan says, yep, Dave Key's often in there for Sunday Fun Day. Yeah, people having a lot of fun. We're accelerating today. Find out where the money's being made right now. Tasha, it's the OMG Beginners Acceleration and Support Group. That's the name of the group. some people ask me, can I be in the Sunday Fun Day group? But there is no Sunday Fun Day group. It's the OMG Acceleration and Support group. OMG Beginner Acceleration Support group. Although it says beginner, we're all beginners of something. And of course, we also have experts who want to come in, jump in, and help out others. So we've been going. Let's get some thank yous for Daryl. I mean, boy, didn't Daryl really throw down today? He came up with this whole module for us, and then came on and talked to us about talk to us about website creation, and then just some background stuff. Talk to us about sales and on page optimization. Daryl, are you actually able to see the question box now? You seen all these thank yous rolling in?
No, I didn't. I don't see them, but
Do,
I,
do,
I
do you have
feel them.
do you have the go-to webinar control panel? I would love for you to see these. You know what? The thing to do is jump on Facebook. Since Daryl can't see my page, jump on that Sunday Fun Day thread on Facebook, and let's thank Daryl, because dang, this has just been awesome.
Yeah, and this is just the beginning.
Yeah, we're just getting started. So please jump on Facebook and give Daryl give Daryl a thank you in the OMG NHB group. You can jump on the acceleration thread, the acceleration Webby thread that I posted on there, and thank Daryl, or you can start a new thread and thank Daryl. Real cool. Also, please thank Angela. Angela jumped on as well. So Daryl, thank you so much. And there's just a ton of thank yous that have rolled in for you.
Well, I appreciate it. And what motivates me is, once I of course I've been out of the car business for a few years, but once I saw that if I took my training that I have learned over 30 years, and if I can help people, and that's why I say this other challenge I've got going on, see if I can get 50 people to 10,000 a month. I ain't figured out exactly how I'll do it, but I've got a goal. I'm going to do it. So you pick a big challenge and you take a bite of it at a time.
I love it. I think this is going to be real exciting. We also got some more thank yous rolling in for Angela. Yeah, let's. I would love to see a bunch of thank yous for Daryl and for Angela. What I want to do now is I want to turn the page. Carrie, are you still there?
I am.
Carrie, speaking of modules, they've been literally very exciting for people. In the if I go back to this is the Project Breakthrough members home here. Gotta re-log in here. So in the Project Breakthrough members home, and this is also in the Project X and Project J members areas. You got this wonderful training with you, and also Chris Marshall jumped on this as well. Let me see if I can find this here. Scroll down and wonder if I already zipped past it. So I think it was up.
Yeah, I don't think it's that low.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's up higher. So much excitement going on. I just love seeing. I mean, this member area.
Month one.
What's that?
Wait,
is it
it's
month
one?
one? Oh, it's month one. Yeah, because it'd be on page stuff. That makes total sense. So let's see, month one. So we go into the website
Structure. Yeah.
Yep, structure main page. And then we've got the long tail local explosion. Let's talk long tail local explosion. Now, listen, we've got a core of what we're doing with OMG SEO, what we're doing on page, what we're doing with private blog networks, what we're doing with DAS at this point, domain authority stacking. Sometimes we're able to bolt something on, and I don't know if this is the kind of thing that's going to work for 20 years or 20 weeks, but it sure as heck is working right now, like crazy. And
it's been working for over 5 years.
Yeah, and that was just a quick disclaimer to let people know. We never know. We may need to make adjustments and so forth, but this has been really working like a panic, and this is really, really cool. Something that we're going to get inside of. And Carrie created actually for you. Carrie and I orchestrated this together. Created an over-the-shoulder series, and Carrie really put a lot of focus into this. We worked real hard on this, and we were going back and forth. I remember Carrie was relaying videos to me. I was actually in Vegas at the time when I got this first batch of videos, and I I was just, I was ordering room service one night and I was eating, a steak, and I was savoring these videos just like I was savoring that steak. It was really, really juicy and a lot of fun. And it's over the shoulder where you're seeing Carrie, from the beginning all the way through, getting a website up with lots and lots of web pages, lots of pages, lots of traffic, and actually earning money. And Carrie, I don't know if I can do this justice, but this is the kind of thing. Well, first of all, Daryl just alluded a little bit earlier to Daryl alluded a little bit earlier to a situation with keywords and trying to figure out the keywords and trying to figure out what's good. Carrie, would you like to take over the screen to take us inside of a little bit about your perspective with keywords?
Sure.
All right, great. I'm very excited. Carrie, you really have a passion for keywords, and nowadays, with the way things are working, with Surrey, and with because people are talking into their phone now, and they're typing keyword requests into their phone, and then they're going onto Google and typing it from their computer and their iPads, and there's just so many different ways that let's see if I can transfer the screen over to you. Let's see.
I got it.
You got it?
Everybody should be seeing a Google page. Is that right?
Yep, we're seeing it.
Okay.
All right, great.
So go ahead, Mike.
Well, I just want to take folks inside because you put together this whole over-the-shoulder module, and I think this is for folks who haven't seen it. I think there's going to be different categories. I think some number of people, be it 3 or 5 or 25 or 100, some number of people are going to go into this and just tear it apart and start putting up sites, getting lots of traffic, and making lots of money with it. That's going to be one category. I don't know whether it'll be 3, 5, 50, 100, whatever. There's plenty of opportunity out there, no question. Okay, but there'll also be people who go through this series and they may not wind up. They may wind up putting up a site and seeing it have success and so forth, and it might lead to something else. For example, I know that one of the ways that we wound up making this is one of the cool things about OMG. One of the ways that we wound up making this series in the first place, you watched Alex Gould's affiliate traffic method with keywords that he was using, and you pinged me and you're like, hey man, actually I'm doing some of this stuff when it comes to local, and so that inspired you to pay it forward. Is that correct?
That is correct. You know what? It was a Sunday fun day.
It was a Sunday fun day, exactly. So oh, that's right, it was. You were in on Sunday fun day and you were chiming in. I spotted it. I was actually in on that Sunday fun day. I pinged you, and next thing you know, we sat down and recorded a series on some of your keyword understanding, and that actually led to this over the shoulder series. So it was a really cool progression, and I realized that you have some insights into how you're viewing keywords, how you see things that could literally help people have a lot of success. So what I wanted to do is turn things over to you, and also you actually had a little bit of an insight, something that you wanted to share with people, just a little bit of a tip, something that is new to you. It's a program that's about 18 months old, but it was new to you. I hadn't heard about it. I thought this was kind of a little bit of cool of an extra tip. So Carrie, I want to kind of give you the microphone and hear what you have to say about things.
Well, all right. Let me just start off with saying I love the way Alex Gould looks at search terms and how he backs into low competition terms that have traffic. I love the way he does that. And from an affiliate marketing standpoint, man, that is just beautiful. I've also incorporated it in some of the things that I'm doing now. But for local, I look at things completely different. And that's I think there's a couple of people that I think are on here that were in my coaching program where I was explaining this, but the concept of limiting yourself to search terms is totally foreign to me. I came into OMG. What was it? It was almost exactly a year ago.
Almost exactly a year. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm just like everybody else. I've been doing this full time for making my living, doing this full time, and I come into OMG and I'm drinking from a fire hose. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on here? And so I had to backtrack a couple of months and just say, wait a second, what is really going on here? But one of the focuses of OMG, especially using the private blog networks for backlinks, was that you're only trying to rank for a select number of terms, and that's your goal. And I love that thought process because it was so contrary to what I had been doing. And what I had been doing was I was unlimited in search terms, and I think it's a foreign concept. I thought, well, I'm just a guy doing my little thing in my house and helping clients and doing lead generation and find out, well, maybe there's actually a demand for this type of information, and that's what Mike said. Okay, so here we are. How do we do it? What do I think about? Well, if you watch those modules, you're going to see a little bit of an introduction into it, but I guess what Mike would like me to do now is actually show you. And so I'm going to show you keyword research in its most simplest form.
Yeah, I would love
so
that.
Let me go
I think the keyword
to
research
the AdWord.
is a great feeling for people, because one of the things I want folks to know is that there's so much more opportunity out there than folks realize. I was talking to David Mills about saturation last night, the idea of saturation, and one of our challenges in helping people have vastly more success, and it's we're real ruthless about getting you to have more success. We care so much about it. We realize how many people have ever felt a sense of indecision that's paralyzed you based on the fear that things might get saturated or are saturated. Where you feel like, yeah, there's a fair number of people that have felt that way. Okay, and even if you're
I
over
see
that
that.
fear now. What's that, Kerry?
I see a lot of people agree with that concept of saturation, and boy, I don't believe in that at all.
Well, and David actually came up with a full, and this is something that he'll express to you more, but he came up with a full sheet to get around this last night. David and I were talking about this last night for a while, and I think that this will dovetail well into what Kerry is about to show you. So listen, if there's logically there's three places where things must be in a case of saturation. Now, one, business-wise, would be that sometimes you're in a situation, there have been situations in current history and in world history where government is so oppressive that business is very restrictive. So, for example, if you're in North Korea right now, your options are limited. That's just reality, unfortunately. And I would love to see that change. And I hope and pray in our lifetime that we'll see that change. But that's one situation. So I understand that, but let's set that aside for a second, because most people aren't dealing with quite that level of oppression. So then, at that point, once you're in a decently free market, I'm not going to get into a discussion on taxation or tax slavery or anything like that right now. But once you have some amount of opportunity, which certainly in most of the Western world, most of Asia, Australia, most of the world, you have a decently free situation. There's certainly some regulations you're going to run into and so forth, but you're going to run into a situation where either it must be true that either you can design things for people, you can design solutions for them, if you're a personal trainer, design workouts that are fun and effective and creative and where people can just kind of ride your wave and get fit, or where you're creating a nightclub that's really fun and interesting and brings people together, and you promote it and you get lots of people into it, or you're designing SEO services that are compelling and understandable and that help build somebody else's business. Either number one, you have the opportunity to design something. That's number one. Or number two, things are so put together in the world that everything has already been designed and you can just hop in on somebody else's design, and everything is so easy and everyone's completely wealthy. There's no problems in the world. Everyone has plenty of food, plenty of shelter, plenty of clothes, plenty of designer clothes, whatever they want, because everything is so well designed. It literally, it literally must be one of those two cases. If you're not in the North Korea total totalitarian situation, either there's massive opportunity for design, or things are so well designed that while it's saturated with all this goodness, all this design, everything is so seamless, so easy that you can just ride everyone else's wave. Give me the number one if that argument makes sense to you, because it's logically true. It's logically true. It must be true logically. Okay? It must be true logically. This is going to give you a real edge. And I believe this is going to allow you to listen to Carrie very differently today. Okay? It actually literally must be true what I just said. So either there's massive opportunity for design. Okay? And give me the number two if you don't agree or you're confused and you have a question about this. I have no problem talking about this, because if you can understand this, it's going to really amplify your ability to either take a page out of what Carrie's saying right now and have success with it directly, or learn from it and use it for your affiliate marketing moves, or at least expand your understanding of internet marketing. Okay, I'm getting actually a lot of number ones here, so I feel like people are getting this, but I want to explain this one more time from a different angle. So either, okay, and if you are confused, Christina said she's slightly confused, but give me a little bit more. And of course, I'll just run through it from the top here. But if you're a little bit confused, just take a few moments and type in why or some keywords. Give me some idea of where you're getting stuck so I can address it, and I want to. So let's take this from the standpoint of being an SEO agency. Of course, sometimes we come in and we do the acceleration webinars, and we'll really focus in on if you're an affiliate marketer or if you have your own business or something like that. Today, we're a little bit more focused on clients. We had Angela come on. We had Daryl come on. Now we've got Carrie. Most of the money that they're bringing in is coming in from clients. So, all right. So with clients, either things are so well designed in the SEO world where there's just the perfect solution for any business owner, where they can just at a very low cost advertise, get tons of visitors, just racing into their business, ready to go, ready to buy stuff, understanding what's going on with their business, interacting with their Facebook and watching their YouTube videos, and just in a cocoon of goodness all around them. Okay, either that's true, all right, or there's massive opportunity for that. Angela just came on here and told us that person after person after person after person who she's talked to has been burned by SEOs, and that's what's on their mind. Okay, so give me a number one if you have heard either somebody, a business owner directly say they've been burned by SEO, or you've at least heard somebody else talk about it. Give me a number one if you've heard that idea. Oh, I've been burned by SEO. Carrie, have you ever heard it?
I've heard it directly a number of times.
Yeah, people hear it.
And my response is generally, you get what you pay for.
Right.
Well, and so if you've heard that, then it must be, if you've heard that, then it must be that things are not very well designed, that there's a lot of opportunity for design. Just by that very statement, okay, I've been burned. Okay, it'd be one thing if people said, I've been burned, but now things are perfect, right? But they're not saying that. They're saying, I've been burned, and now I feel burned, right?
Yeah, and they're skeptical. They're hesitant. They don't want to make a mistake. But you know what? This is just like anything else in life. These business owners are going to make mistakes. You guys doing SEO are going to make mistakes, and you know what? It's okay. It doesn't even matter. Make a mistake, because every mistake you make gets you a step further towards where you want to go.
Well, and most importantly, what I want people to know, and what we're about to show them is very powerful. I agree with what you're saying, Carrie, because once you're inside the OMG system, taking action really just does work. So it's absolutely correct. And more to the point of this saturation, because I really want to break through on this saturation. It's one of the things in 2015, I believe that if I can really help you see the incredible opportunity out there, that it's going to there's a way. David Mills talked about this. There's a way. If you hypnotize somebody, they can lift much more weight. Did you know that? Why is that? If you hypnotize somebody, they can lift much more weight. Now, either you've heard one of David Mills' series, and you know why, or maybe you know about this just from human physiology. Why is it that if you hypnotize somebody, that they can lift much more weight? Does
You
anybody know
turn their brain off.
yeah, that actually is the answer. But so what's the anybody know why? Carrie basically said it, but let's see. Here we go. There we go. Paul said it removes natural barriers. Brett Spark says they don't work against themselves. That's correct. Michael said the boundaries are gone. Correct. Julia said subconsciously they believe they can. That's basically is also correct. Limits are gone. Pip says no limitations. Mary Summer says no self-limiting belief. Correct. Christina said they're getting out of their own way. Correct, Christina. Joanne, negative thoughts are not there. That's correct. Yeah, these are all the same things. There we go. Jan said it very, very nicely. Align the muscle vectors. Okay. Align the muscle. What happens is, yeah, and Celine said it as well, muscles stop working against each other. What happens with our body is when we're lifting something, some of our muscles are vectored correctly and lifting it, okay? But some of our muscles are directly fighting those muscles, okay? Or actually like pushing against those muscles and exerting effort to push against those muscles. And while this may seem contradictory, it is what happens. All right, so this greatly limits people's effective strength. So they actually have more strength to lift than they know if they would stop working against themselves. I believe, give me the number one, if before today you realize that there was at least 1% of your vectors were set against you going out and, let's say, and getting clients because you worried about saturation. If saturation was slowing you down at least 1%. And there's no shame in saying that. I genuinely want to know. Or even if not now, sometime in the past. What's that? Somebody chimed in there for a second, but it blipped in and out. Okay. So a lot of people see that. What I want to point out to you is it cannot both simultaneously be true that thousands or millions of business owners are out there feeling like they've been burned and like they don't have their optimal solution when it comes to SEO, and things are saturated. Okay, both of those two things cannot be true at the same time. Give me number one if that makes full sense to you. Okay, I really want that to make full sense. All right, it cannot be true that exact. And this is one of the great things about having Angela come on. This is why we build OMG the way that we do, because she came in. So Angela said, and Angela, are you still there? Let me find out if Angela's still there.
Yep, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yep. So Angela, just calling back to when you said you went to when you first started going to this meetup, this business meetup, business owners were skeptical. Why? What were they saying to you?
Well, because they perceived my services as really expensive because, you do one-on-ones with people and you get to know them. They perceived my services as really expensive because, number one, they're used to paying very little for crappy service and getting nothing out of it. And they also perceived that my services were expensive because in the past they had either gotten nothing out of it themselves or knew somebody who had gotten nothing out of it.
Right. So basically, they almost universally expressed that they had been burned.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, Angela, and this a tiny bit puts you on the spot. So you're.
That's fine.
Everyone's in the same position that you're in now. Can you see that it cannot both be simultaneously true? Like, if you went to a business meeting and every business owner is saying this, right? Then it's not like these are like the 12 business owners in all of America that are feeling this way, right? Like,
right. I think everybody feels that way.
Yeah, it's a fairly universal feeling amongst business owners. In fact, it's more unique for a business owner to really feel like they've got things wrapped up, unless they have an OMGer working for them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how can it be true that 90-some-odd% of business owners are afraid of making a move with SEO because they've been burned, and it's saturated, and the opportunity to design good SEO solutions for business owners is saturated? Can you see how those two thoughts are literally mutually exclusive?
Yeah, I mean, I do. And, Mike, I want to point out, too, that, there's only 25 million business pages on Facebook, okay? So that tells us a couple things. There's only 25 million, so it means there's a lot of other people who don't have business pages on Facebook. And if all those people are on Facebook, it also tells us that they want to have an online presence, right? They want that. They just need to find somebody to give it to them.
That's great logical thinking. Did anybody pick up on what Angela just said? This is really a nice angle on what I was just saying. So there's only 25 million business pages, right? Do you believe that there's only 25, million businesses in the world? That's not even close. Okay, there's like what 8 billion people in the world right now. Is it 25 million businesses are serving 8 billion people? No. Okay, that's not even in the realm of close. All right, not even in the universe of close. So that's number one. But number two, on top of that, did people really pick up on that? How many people here believe that there are only 25 million businesses in the world? Okay, basically zero. Give me the number one if you believe that there's a lot more than 25 million businesses in the world. Okay, we've got about 8 billion people in the world. They're not being served by 25 million businesses. All right.
Exactly.
All right, it's not even in the universe. I mean, there's got to be at least a billion businesses. Come on, because remember, people have different needs, right? So every person deals with 100 different businesses. Okay, easily. I mean, how many businesses can you'll run out of fingers and toes if you start counting on all the businesses that you rely on in your life. Your electric company, water, grocery store, all the vendors that serve your grocery store. Right? So the grocery store is not just one business and they make all the food. No, they're getting all their food from all these different places. So every different food that you buy is a different business is putting that together. That business that is putting the food together, if you go get a taco from Chipotle, they are pulling from all these different vendors, right? If you go to the clothing store and you buy clothing, right? That clothing is not just clothing is not just one business. There's a business, the designer of the clothes, the fabric makers, the people who ship the clothes. There's just a lot of businesses out there. Okay, there's a lot of businesses. And by the way, Tasha says there's 18.2 million businesses in the USA. There's got to be a lot more than that, Tasha. Maybe that's the number of registered businesses, but it's by far more than that. Because what there is today is there's really a revolution where there's so many more cafe businesses out there. Okay, so many more. It's basically mercantile. Like every person on eBay who's an eBay seller is a business. Every person on Amazon is a business, regardless of whether they've got registered as a official business or not. Okay, there's just lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of more businesses out there.
I'm not a registered business.
Right. No, I mean, neither am I. Okay, so there's
there's two more.
You have one person, by the way, who has 10 different businesses. It happens all the time, right? I mean, it happens all the time, and every single one of those businesses needs their own source of traffic. Okay, so anyways, long story short, to go back to things, with what Angela's saying, you can't have 90% or 80 to 90% of business owners that are out there who feel paralyzed and indecision about SEO, and then SEO is saturated, right? These two ideas they can't even close to exist in the same place at the same time. It's so absurd, okay? It's like a married bachelor. It's so ridiculous, okay? Give me a number one if this is helping you a little bit with the saturation issue. I'm gonna speak about this from one last angle before moving on. But I really want you to know, because this idea of saturation can just destroy people. And by the way, also realize that however afraid you were at some point about saturation, okay, that's great. Jason White gets it. How many people didn't get it before this event began, and now after us having talked about it, really feel differently? Give me a number one if you're feeling a different relationship with saturation than you were before today's acceleration webinar began. Wow, that's a great feeling. That's a lot of people. Yeah,
it really is.
That's great. That's wonderful. Every single one of you really matters. This really matters to us because you have so much power at your disposal. That's what Angela's saying to you. That's what Daryl's saying to you. That's what Carrie's saying to you. That's what Fletch was saying to you earlier today. You have so much power at your disposal, okay? And the only thing that's stopping you are these negative vectors? Are these doubts that somebody else in your life has, or something that you heard somewhere sometime? We want to clear that out of the way so you can race ahead. All right, we really want you to be able to race ahead. Let me put it to you a different way. I'll give you a different analogy. Let's imagine there are tens of millions of mothers in America who feel like they want to get in better shape, okay, and feel like there's not a good solution, okay. So let's say that was like the number one thought amongst mothers, is that they want to be in better shape because biologically it kind of changes their bodies to have a child. There's a lot more demands on them with their child, and yet they want to have more energy. They're chasing their kids around, so they want to have more energy, and they want to feel like they're in better shape. They care about their health, okay. But then if that was the case, if it turned out, and I have no idea if it is, but let's just imagine that you had 10 million mothers. I'm picking that number out of random. I don't care how many mothers there are. For the purpose of this, I'm just trying to illustrate an idea. So if out of 10 million mothers, if 8 million of them wish that they had a better solution for health, be it diet, be it, exercise, or something else along those lines, be it mindset, whatever it is, if 8 million out of those 10 million mothers wants better shape, wants to be in better shape, then is it saturated? Then is the mother health business saturated? No, it's obviously completely the opposite. Give me a number one if that makes sense. This is what I'm trying to say, is that it's so absurd, the thought that SEO client consulting is at all saturated. It's so absurd. I mean, it's crazy talk. Okay, so if you have those 8 million mothers who just badly want to get in shape, then there's opportunity. All right, I just kind of want to point that out because now we're going to show you some power. We've talked about saturation, and I really hope you have a different. And listen, if you're still worried about saturation, that's okay. Email me at omg@omgmachines.com, and I'll yell at you some more until you're not worried about it anymore. But at some point we got to move on here. And we'll keep working on this and taking this from different angles. Carrie, what you're about to show is very powerful. Why?
Well, I think the principal reason is that the way Google works, and forget the way Google works, the way people work, is you can't really guess how they're actually going to do a search. And with the proliferation of mobile devices and voice-activated search, that traditional SEO way of looking at things from a search term standpoint has been completely blown apart.
Also,
for instance, will anybody?
They're thinking in terms of different routes. You'll have you'll have people.
Yeah, people are more used to doing searches.
Some people say lawyer Atlanta, right? When they wanted a divorce attorney in a case involving minors, right? But somebody else might say, family law, Norcross, which is very different.
Or they might actually say what you said first. I need a divorce lawyer that deals with minors.
Right. Yeah.
They might actually type that or say that in, and that's the whole thing. One of the biggest Google changes. It wasn't an algorithm change. It didn't affect ranking so much, but it affected how search was indexed. And here I am trying to tell you what it is. I blanked on the name of it. Hummingbird. Do a search, Google search for what the hummingbird change is, because basically, Russell Wright and Sue Bell and those guys always talk about the semantic web. I mean, it's like, okay, look, I'm a simple guy. I really, really am a simple guy. What the hell does semantic web mean? It's all about language and how people are using it. So Hummingbird is basically saying, we're going to take a page that is, on the internet. This is a web page you guys will build, And we're going to take that page and we're going to go in there and figure out what that page is about based on the language that's in that page. So, and then we're going to take that content and then we're going to index it for where we think it's most appropriate. And that's what Hummingbird did, because they said, well, we need to do this because so many searches are now using a search string that is very, very long. We have to be able to take that search string and immediately deliver a result that best matches the words that are in that search string, because people are doing these voice searches now, and so they come up with this Hummingbird thing, and that's what blew open the door for long tail search. And I think when we talk about long tail search, I think we need to define what long tail search is. It is not 2 or 3 or 4 words. Yeah, okay, in traditional SEO terms, that's a long tail search. But when I say long tail search, hey, we could be talking about a sentence. It could be the whole thing. My plumbing broke, in my house in Decatur, Alabama. That's a search string. So if we build pages that have that as a search string, then we're going to be more likely to have that content delivered up because of the Google change. And so that's what we have to. Basically, we have to throw out all of our thinking about SEO and traditional search term and keyword research for what I'm about to show you, because it is completely different. Would you agree, Mike?
Well, the funny thing is, it's not even a question whether I agree. This is why we have an over-the-shoulder series. You can see that Google agrees. That's what matters.
Yeah, Google does agree. So, okay, let's get some audience participation in here, and specifically, let's not deal with affiliate. Let's deal with services, local services. Throw out some services that you would like to see this done for, and we'll do it live.
A bit of live, little live demos here. See what we got.
Yeah, look.
Just gonna let you pick what you want here, Kerry.
Yeah, it's always the traditional things, it's plumbing, it's dentist, it's HVAC, bail bonds. I like bail bonds a lot. Divorce lawyer, holistic wellness for women. I have a bad back, chiropractor. All right, I tell you what. I'm very well versed in HVAC, so why don't we just take that for an example? And I think you can apply that across the board. All right. So basically, what we're going to do, and there's 2 ways of doing this, because what we want to do is we want to have not only a long search string that is niche specific, but we want to have it geocoded. So there's 2 different ways to get a multitude of long tail search terms very, very fast. Can I change the resolution on my screen? I don't know what you want me to change. It's a 24-inch screen blown out as wide as it can.
You know what you can do is hit Control plus a couple times, so it just gets.
Control plus?
Yeah, if you do Control plus a couple times.
Is that better?
Yeah, maybe even 1 or 2 more times, because it'll really zoom
right.
in. Yeah, that's great. Great. That was great.
Okay. All right. So let me get up here. All right. So basically, the way you would start, for traditional SEO, you just put in something like, let's put in like air conditioning repair. All right, and then you go in and you would do your little get ideas. All right. So then you say, okay, ideas. Here we go. Search terms, and you start going down through these. Auto air conditioning repair, well, that's certainly not applicable. We're looking at houses. So you got air conditioning repairs. You start going through this stuff. And there's 2 different types of search terms that you actually want to be aware of. One is the research side, and the other is the actual action-taking type. And the way I look at this is if somebody didn't know anything about air conditioners, they might start in with air conditioners, and but they don't really want to buy an air conditioner. So any search that has information about air conditioners and purchasing is not relevant. But we want it repaired, right? So we have to go and find the things that talk about repair. But then we say, well, look, I don't. I'm a homeowner and I'm in South Florida, and it's 90 degrees and the sun's shining, and I am hot. and I'm hot. Okay, it's 10 o'clock at night. It's hot. I have to get my air conditioning repaired right now. So what does it become? It becomes an emergency. So we look at these things and we say, okay, well, how do I know which of these? Look at all these different search terms. Which one would you pick? So I say, all right, traditional is going to say, well, let's figure out which one has the most traffic, right? So we go up, we get all the high volume search terms, so okay, air conditioner, no, too generic, portable air conditioner, no, air conditioning, air conditioners. You see the problem here? All of these things are so generic. Yeah, they have high traffic. What does that search volume have to do with repairing a air conditioning unit? Nothing. It has nothing to do with it. The first one we get to is 12,100. Okay, great. But that's searches on a global basis. How do we, do we care about that? You know what? I don't really care about that, because if I'm in a town and Google knows where I'm at, they're going to deliver that result anyway. So, but we still have the problem. How do I get that search term and that content on that page put in such a way that Google will know exactly how to deliver it? And so that's where we have to start, getting a little bit more specific. We start adding, geotags and front and back and things like that. So what we do is we just go through here and pick a few of these, and then we can, put them in our revenue wire. Let me get that one up. And I believe there's a video about this as well. Let me see if I can make that. I can't really make this one any bigger. So basically what we want to do, that doesn't help any. All right, so what we do is we then take our search terms, okay? So we have, like air conditioning, repair, we have emergency, air conditioning, repair, and so we just get all of our terms in here like this. We can put service, we can put AC repair, we can put emergency, and all of these things are in the Google AdWords. But I stopped using Google AdWords except for one thing, because I try to think about, well, how would I search for things? How am I going to do this? And you start thinking about these things, it's like, well, I want 24-hour AC repair. I want 24-hour emergency AC repair, and just things like that. You say, well, okay, so we have 6 search terms. That's a good start. But now what? What do we do? What do we do next? Well, this is how you can take 6, 10 search terms and make them a whole bunch. So let's say that your project, is again, it's local, and you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So then you have Dallas, you have Fort Worth, you have Garland, you've got Mesquite, Plano, Arlington. There's a whole bunch of different towns. So now you have that list, right? And so we can go over here. Let's copy that. And so with this software, we can do a whole bunch of different things. So right now we have 6 there, we have 6 there. Now we can combine them. Now we have 36 search terms. So we want to take those. We put them on a clipboard. And so we just hang on a second. Went to the wrong side. Okay, so we take those, we put them over here. So now we have all those search terms, and then we can do it again. We can take these over here, and again, I'm just doing this real dirty and quick, and then so we can put the city in the back, and we can get 36 more. Okay, so let's change this over to the last 2 columns. We combine that. Now we have 36 more search terms that we can optimize for. All right, so now we have 72 search terms. So now we're not done, because we can add the state abbreviation to each of these, and we can get that many more search terms. And we just go down the line and add these, and I use sharper ones. We'll figure out what I'm going to do next. We have 36 more. We just add those in and put them in just like that, and then we can finally do the state, right? We can even, if that's not enough, we can do the zip code. We can just keep going as long as we want with this. We can add a whole bunch more search terms. We can do a whole bunch of different things, and this, again, this is how I used to do things manually to get my search terms that I would optimize for. I'd use these in videos, I'd use them in websites, I'd use this for the text on the content page. So we have a great big list of search terms in minutes,
And
just
Carrie,
like that.
Carrie,
Yeah, go ahead.
you did this in an over-the-shoulder series.
Yep.
Humming. Do you have the data on how much traffic or how much the rankings that you can show? Because you did this like right over people's shoulder, or right over your shoulder for OMGers. You did this several weeks ago. Do you happen to have that handy to give people an idea of just how powerful this can be?
I would tell you that generally when I use the SERP shaker, like that's in the over the shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
generally I get 800 search terms. I blow it out for a specific topic, and I will get somewhere between 200 and 300 #1 results, and I will get generally 50% of the top 3.
Yeah, I felt like in the series that you did that we got at least 100 #1 rankings. Does that sound about correct to you?
Yeah, and again, that was a real small project, but when you add the videos to that, you usually get 200.
Does that make sense? Give me the #1 if you're kind of getting an aha moment here in terms of these keywords.
I know I am.
You enjoying it, Daryl?
Oh yeah, this blends right in with what I was talking about.
Yeah, this is really cool stuff. This is really, really cool stuff. Yeah, a lot of people love this. Yeah, and this is sitting there right there in your members area. This is something that Carrie and I worked real hard on in the background for a while to get together, Carrie especially. And we have more twists and turns to come with this stuff.
Yeah, you can use words like in and near and close to and things like that, because that's the actual language that is being used a lot in search now. You especially with services, they want to know, even restaurants and other things, what's the closest Chinese food restaurant near me, and what does near me mean? Well, it means wherever you are, because that's Google knows where you are based on the IP address. They know where you are. They know where your phone is. They know where your laptop is. And you start thinking about, well, if they know where I'm at, what do I actually have to type in for a search term? Well, that's only half the equation. The other half of the equation is you have to have your content match where you believe your searcher is going to be.
Yeah.
And then when you put those two things together, bingo, now you can show up, you can put your content out there, Google will index it appropriately for both the niche and the geographic location, and you become the best result.
Yeah, and we'll and again, this over the shoulder series really describes this stuff. Tosh is asking how much is SERP Shaker. SERP Shaker is quite a reasonable software, and what we've done in addition to that, and we'll talk about this at some point in the near future, but it's right there in your members area, right nested in with Carrie's training. Is that Chris Marshall, who's another OMGer, has actually created a software that you get access to as an OMGer. You can build out 5 sites with it 100% for free. So
yeah, I love that concept of what Chris has come up with, and if you guys are going to use it, let me show you how to do that with Google AdWords and get your search terms for it.
Great.
Because the ability to go as broad as you want with a website is awesome. SERP Shaker allows you to do it. I like that for a local site, but for a national site, Chris's software is awesome because you can just blow it out for the entire country one fell swoop. And how I like to get search terms for either project is basically, if I'm doing something for air conditioning repair, I have that term right there, right? And then if we move this over, you'll see that Google gives you all 756. I want them all. I don't even think about it. I don't even go look through them. I'm not going to spend 5 minutes on search term research. I'm going to grab every single one of those search terms, and I'm going to put it on my clipboard, and that's what I'm going to have. I'm going to have a single page for every single one of these search terms.
That
And
makes
then,
sense.
with either with Chris's software, with SERPshaker, you can build 800 pages almost at the snap of a finger.
Yeah.
And
It makes sense, folks. And again, this is why I want you to see there's so much power out there. And why is Google allowing this is because if you saw what the results were for these search terms, if you don't rank for them, they're literally nonsense. Like they return nonsense. 800 pages. Priscilla's shocked. 800 pages. What's the biggest? What's the largest number of pages that you currently have on a website, Carrie?
on a single website,
Single website.
oh, 30,000.
30,000. And how many rankings do you think that site's getting?
It's too large to actually track, but every single time I do a spot check, let's say I spot check 100, I'll get 85% in the top 5.
Yeah, so you might have 20,000 ranked.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah. And now, if you take any one of those individual keywords, though, let's say it's septic tank repair, Plano, Texas. I'm just, picking something random. So septic tank repair, Plano, Texas. You
Okay.
might rank number 1 for that. But if you look at the other searches for that, so many of them tend to be just complete nonsense. Like, it's not like you're competing with other businesses. In a lot of these cases, there's so few optimized pages out there that the other results are like accidental spam.
That's exactly right, because Google doesn't really know what type of result to bring back. That over-the-shoulder project was for 3 suburbs of Atlanta.
So you want to do like septic tank repair, Norcross, storage, Stockbridge.
Stockbridge, I think, is one of those cities. And I haven't checked this lately, but you can see, what do they give you? Super Pages, Kudzu. There's a company down here, Red Beacon. I have no idea what that is. Angie's List. I mean, they don't give you a whole bunch of meaningful results. Although this one actually did bring the local search. You do emergency septic tank repair, you still get these results. There's my video right there, and you just get a bunch of different stuff. It's like the more long tail the search gets, the more generic the search results get.
Yeah,
and which allows you to then come back in and get rankings very easily.
So for example, if somebody says in Surrey, I really need emergency septic tank repair, and I'm in Stockbridge, like you'll just start getting absurd results back. This isn't just nationally; this is worldwide. So what you're doing is you're coming in on something where people are either getting extremely generic results back, or just even nonsense results back, and you're actually providing a real result. And of course, we'll talk in Carrie's module about different ways of monetizing that. In a lot of cases, Carrie's doing that with clients. You can also do it CPA, something that Carrie will do, and Chris also does. That Fletch does CPA.
Yeah, you do something weird like that, and emergency hot water tankless heater repair in that city.
Yeah.
And so when you look through here, that's one of my videos. But what is this? Cheap water heater repair. That probably works. But then you have Home Advisor.
Water
that one.
heater FAQ.
Yeah. Delta Plumbing. That's the largest plumber in that area. Oh, look at me. There's my site right there.
Number 1.
Yeah. Number 1. So it just when you put, see, and that's the thing. Look over here, we did air conditioner repair, right? That's still pretty generic. But like on a plumber site, like the one we did in the over shoulder, look, we broke that down. We didn't just say plumber, we said water heater. Okay, that's just a subset of the actual service that a plumber does, right? You know, so you can get 800 pages just about the subset of a service, not the entire service.
And we're getting a few questions in about Chris's software. It's just tucked in. It's right below Carrie's training, so it's in the same area. It's maybe like 2 links down, and if you just look at it, it's just right there. Go on, Carrie. Keep going.
I was just looking at those questions. You know, SerpShaker is not free. Chris's software is free for 5 sites. So there's a don't get those two things.
You can at least the point with that is you can at least do 1 or 2 sites. Just try it out. We want you to, like, look, for some people this is going to be fantastic. For some people this is going to smash barriers down and you're going to be off to the races, and that's great. For some people, just even doing 1 or 2 sites, even just watching the videos is going to expand the way your mind thinks. Like Carrie said to begin with, what inspired him to do this series in the first place was watching Alex Gould's keyword research series. That we were doing a keyword research module on affiliate marketing, right? So the point is, this could easily wrap around and massively change what you're doing with affiliate marketing, because you might learn something from this by doing this that really, rapidly moves you forward when it comes to that, and even if it just jogs loose one idea. See, that's something that's very important to us. And look, there's no one OMG technique or training that's going to be everything to everyone. It's never the purpose of what we're doing. Now, it's pretty rare that we put something out that's not going to at least give you a light bulb moment, or at least shed some clarity on the situation. So I think this is just going to be a really, really cool module. And for some people, this is going to be an absolute game changer. Especially if you're interested in local CPA, like what Fletch and Joe Marfolio talk about. It can be very powerful for that. Just the same thing that Daryl Ferguson was talking about. He's fired up because this just opens up things more. It just gives you more power, and this also just shows you how little, like how unsaturated Google is. There's so many keywords out there. And by the way, Carrie, it's not even like that we're expecting a lot of these pages to get 100 visits a month. It's just that when you rank.
Let's talk about traffic though. Let's talk about traffic. Traditional SEO says you're going to go after those top 3, 4, 5 search terms that have the highest amount of traffic, correct? Well, what comes with that? Heavy competition is what comes with that. So you have to work that much harder to fight your way through all the other SEO guys trying to get to those same search terms. But if you can come around the corner and say, well, if I just go out for 800 search terms, I may not get those 3 or 4 or 5, but I'll have so many other fishing poles out there in that water, I am bound to get some traffic because people are searching for that stuff.
And you actually accomplished this over the shoulder series, and Chris did the same thing. You did this without firing PBNs to it. Is that correct?
No PBNs, no DAS, no nothing. I used the website, the pages, a little bit of classified ad magic, and a little bit of video magic, and that's it.
Yeah. So, and this is something that you can either do with an expired domain or even with a fresh new domain. So this is a real powerful on page, which is also one of the reasons why I wanted to bring Carrie on at the same time I was bringing on Daryl, was that there's a real focus in your on page SEO. Of course, we've got the best backlinking technology that's out there. All right, but yeah. So this is just exciting stuff. I'm really, give me a number one if you just feel like more of a sense of possibility, more of a sense of excitement, regardless of whether you're going to do this or not. Oh, that's great. That's great to see. Yeah.
That's why I like jumping on these webinars. We've got so many people that are so talented. I mean, if you don't get an aha moment on every webinar, that's crazy.
Yeah. And we're getting lots and lots and lots of exciting stuff. Okay.
There's a question I want to address in there real quick.
Yeah, the dupe content question.
Yeah. Yep. At this point in time, for local, there is no such thing as a duplicate content. So you can have 800 pages that are almost virtually the same. The only difference is, maybe that search term that you plug into that page, and there is no duplicate content issue. What duplicate content means is that if you have a website website A, and that's the originator of that content, and that same content exists on website B, C, D, and E. Now, those other sites may get a duplicate content penalty because they're using the same content. They're only going to rank one of those pages. But for local, every one of these is a different page to Google, and especially when you have the geographic identifier on it. I've been doing this method for over 5 years. I have not had any panda or penguin penalties. Everything ranks easily, generates traffic, and in my lead generation side of the business, and Mike can verify this. I'm getting well over 200 phone calls a month, month in and month out in the high season.
Well, and I also want to point this out. Like, you want to know about that lawyer who rushed that, by courier, that $18,000 check. I know this because I spoke with the lawyer myself personally. It was this technique that lawyer was excited about. It was having this kind of reach. Okay, so this is a real powerful thing. Ryan's asking, is there a Mac version of the keyword tool or something comparable? Ryan, especially with these things that are relatively low power to do, for your Mac, you can always use Parallels for this sort of thing, and just set up a parallel desktop. So Parallels, or what is it, VMware Fusion. There's a couple of different services that allow you to have a virtual desktop in PC that you could do, and there may be something else out there for you. You can always check. Okay, and in terms of, listen, we know that there's a lot going on in your OMG members area. OMG isn't really built to be casually browsed. It's just not. It's a very powerful thing for yourself. It's designed in such a way where we want you to really engage in it and start figuring out where things are, and that's of value to you. That's of service to you. So being able to move around your members area and being able to understand where things are. Now, this happens to be in the month one lesson on on-site structure, but it's not, just so you know, it's not a deficiency. In fact, it's an intentionality in your members area, the way things are designed. And, that's why we get the earnings reports that we get. We don't really, there are other, coaching companies that are out there where they're not built for customer success. They're built for their own financial success or their affiliate success, or something like that, for the appearance of competence. And those things will be, very much, paint by numbers. Now, you'll paint by numbers and get no result whatsoever, or paint by numbers and lose a lot of money, paint by numbers and waste a bunch of your time. But it is paint by numbers, so you can get that horrible result, exact step-by-step instructions on how to spend thousands of dollars on physical products and make no money whatsoever. Whatever it is, the amazing scam machine, or amazing, or whatever it is. I don't know what that. What would that be? ASS? I don't know. But anyways, you can go whatever direction that you want with that. That's fine. But in terms of actual money getting, in terms of actual, where the results, where people are just coming in and just having overwhelming success. Angela was at OMG Live Nashville. Carrie was at OMG Live Nashville. Carrie, what was it like walking around OMG Live Nashville and just meeting person after person after person, making 10 grand a month, 15 grand a month, 30 grand a month, 60 grand a month, 100 grand a month? What was that like?
It was an amazing experience. As good as the classroom instruction side of things were, the relationships and the contacts that you made with the other members was tremendous. I mean, I am still talking on an almost daily basis with people I met at OMG Live, and I've partnered up with people to do fantastic things that I met at OMG Live. Yeah,
folks, OMG, it's not this. It's a way of life. It's the OMG way. Actually, what I'd love to do right now, I'd love to see this. I'm jumping on Facebook right now. I'm going to do a hashtag OMG way. Actually, I'm going to say the OMG way. OMG way. And if you feel that way about OMG, give us a hashtag, the OMG way, because this is the way that we do things. There's a reason. There's a real focused intentionality to how we're doing things and why we're doing things the way that we're doing. them, the latest news feed, you want to stay on top of it. It's important. It's literally important. That's why it's set up the way it's set up. Like we put, me and David Mills and Greg Morrison and Cotton Grammer and Jimmy and Russell and Sue and Joe Marfolio and Fletch, we're putting hours and hours and hours of focus into your members area every day, between all of us. Absolutely. We're concocting new things. We're working with Daryl, with Carrie, with all these people that you're meeting, even with Angela. Like she's a part of this. You're all a part of this. And so it's not to be dealt with casually. It's not to be said like, oh, well, I wish, what's that? So we just had like a little bit of an audio thing. So it's just not built to be casually dealt with. It's like if you don't understand how it's laid out, then that opportunity to understand is an opportunity. And in understanding it, you will gain strength in OMG by understanding how to navigate the site, understanding where the videos are, what's going on. You might say, well, there's a lot. Well, great that there's a lot. This is a whole career. How many people saw, yesterday or today we had Angela's earnings report. Yesterday we had Daryl's. The day before that we had Iman. Iman came in here and worked, studied for a few weeks, and got up to $8,600 per month recurring. Daryl came in, got up to over $40,000 a month recurring. This is what you're dealing with. But it's, I just imagine a doctor going into med school, like going into Harvard Med School and hoping to come out and make $300,000 a year, $400,000 a year, and then, or whatever it is, 11 years later, and saying to his professors, "Oh, I think this needs to be organized differently." I mean, I just don't know what else to say. It's just quite good and quite to your benefit. People ask me all the time, how can I have more success inside of OMG? I want to be more like Daryl. I want to be more like Carrie. I want to be more like Cotton. I want to be more like Alex or Mary or like Angela. Well, that way is the OMG way. You make.
I want to be more like Joe Marfolio.
Oh God, how cool is that guy?
He's awesome.
He is awesome. No, again, this is the OMG way. If you want somebody else's way, then go buy the scam product. There's plenty of them out there. I don't think anybody here wants to. Of course, I'm not really like, you're on this webinar 2.5 hours for a reason. So I'm not, I know you're on my side with this. I understand that, but I'm giving you some insight into what we do and how we do it and why we do it, because this is the OMG way. This is David Mills' way. He designed this for us. He knows how to teach people. We can just go to the earnings reports compilation. You'll see that. Okay. To be able to come in and have this kind of profit success is extraordinary. I was on Skype late last night, and Jason Berkowitz contacted me for no other reason, just to say that he was just so blown away. And Jason's around $25,000 a month that he's making with clients. And he just wanted to say, hey, didn't want anything, nothing going on. He was just particularly excited by the last OMG Way email that had just come in. And he was just excited about it. And he was excited. And really it just makes him laugh at anybody who's out there trying to compete with OMG. I mean, as Cotton would say, assimilation, right? Give me a hashtag assimilation, if you kind of get it. Okay, because I'm telling you, resistance is futile. Resistance is absolutely futile. This is the OMG way. If you do this our way, you just have an overwhelming advantage. Just an overwhelming advantage where the competition is just, it's just absurd. Even calling them competition, it's just ridiculous. It's like Mike Tyson boxing a sock puppet. Like I just imagine like Mike Tyson boxing like 10 different sock puppets, and he goes on ESPN, and they're like, Mike, which sock puppet was the hardest sock puppet for you to beat? And he's like, I like Mr. Smoochie was particularly difficult because he had lipstick on it. It made me giggle. Sorry, that was a little bit of a rant there. I've been particularly ranty. I've been hanging out with Becker too much recently, so I get my rant on a little bit. But I kind of want people to see this. A lot of what because like look what we just saw. Carrie, you put together in OMG a site right in front of their eyes with no links, just a few like little nifty moves that a little bit, a couple free Web 2.0s and some YouTube stuff. Just dozens and dozens and dozens of number one rankings on lucrative keywords. You've done this yourself to the tune of 10 or 20,000 or even more number one rankings with a single website, and this has made you substantial money. I mean, one client, $100,000.
Yep.
So basically, it's,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how else to answer that. Yes, I have.
yeah. This is, folks, this is where the money's being made right now. This is the OMG way. Okay, resistance is futile. All right, so just do it. It's not about like, oh, is there a search box or this or that. Understand your members area. Your members area is your touchstone. It is your touchstone. It is, if you were, in Lord of the Rings, it would be, the one ring to just smash down your competition. To load up your bank account. People, I mean, you want to know the real world way? The real world way is that you listen to authority, you get bossed around, and you get paid what they say you're worth. If they say you're worth 50 grand a year, then that's what you make until they lay you off, and then you make zero. Okay, that's their way. If you've tried it their way and you didn't like it, then that's why we have the OMG way. Carrie, do you like that way?
I am completely unemployable.
Love it.
You ruined me.
You can't hire me. Sorry.
Great.
You mentioned those lawyers. They asked me, well, why can't we just hire you and you come work for us? I said, well, one, you can't afford me. Two, I can't work for anybody. And three, anybody that has the type of skills to do what you need done is making too much money to be an employee.
Yeah. No, I love it. I'm gonna go in here and thank Carrie for coming on. Carrie, do you have last words? I also want to point this out that from time to time, Carrie will put out keyword coaching. Really, I endorse it. Keep an eye out for that. Carrie really understands a lot when it comes to keywords. He's been doing this for 5 years. He's been doing OMG for about a year. He's very, very well versed in what we're doing, and just a wonderful member of our community. And we have a lot of fun doing this. Carrie's very passionate about keywords. We talked about what you're passionate about, and I think you really saw today, at least a taste. And the reason why we did a taste and just giving you an angle on this is that we've got that whole over-the-shoulder series just laid out for you right there in your month one lesson, the on-site structure lesson that's right there. And you even have that free software option with Chris Marshall to get your feet wet, and then you can kind of decide what direction you want to go. If you want to jump in on SurfShaker and so forth, you can go deeper in this. I think it's very valuable. I think that no matter what, it's sort of like Neo in the Matrix learning Kung Fu. If you can just sit down and go through Carrie's module and understand how this stuff works, an hour or two later, then you have literally strengthened yourself. You've given yourself a tool that you can take to the bank that you may wind up using for clients, or that you may wind up using in your affiliate marketing, or it may just give you some insight on how to sell your own product. But one way or the other, it is going to benefit you. It's going to benefit you.
I couldn't agree with you more. And you know what? Daryl was talking about the ability to walk through a WordPress build and get those fundamentals down. Look, if you want to know where to start, you have to understand the fundamentals of WordPress and be able to put a site together. I mean, that's like 101. You have to know how to do that. And my recommendation for people who don't know how to navigate the OMG website is stop trying to learn everything that's in there. Pick something, whatever it is, and dive down into that. Drill it down until you know exactly how to do affiliate marketing, or drill down until you know how to do local client consulting, or whatever it is that you want to do, but only do the one thing until you actually make money at it.
Yeah, Carrie, that's what I was telling Mike on one of another webinars. Is this is like the ability to go into any classroom in the best university and pick anything. So you've got to pick one and do it, which it actually literally, I like to know everything about it, but it took me a couple of months to sit down and say, okay, what would work for me? I've scanned everything, and then I pick client getting, but I mean, you've got stuff here you can learn for years to come.
Yeah, and we built it that way. We built this to be a lifelong career. We don't want you. We don't want this to be a trick, and then Amazon just decides to compete with you, and then your business is gone. This happens. Like there was a major Wall Street Journal article that just came out on how Amazon competes with their top sellers all the time. They just write you out of existence. They're like, out of the search engine you go. We're inserting our product over top of your product. Thanks for the research that you did for us. You know, you're out. We're in. See you later.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
eBay,
oh yeah.
you know, eBay. I'm doing a website for a guy that's selling a book. He's sold old car parts on there for 5 or 6 years, doing $1 million a year, and he literally is getting off because eBay is against him in everything he does, and he's one of their top producers. I don't get it.
Oh yeah. No, it happens. This is one of the things about Google is that Google doesn't just decide, oh well, we're going to put out the number one according to us exercise product, health and fitness product. Like what's number one for lose fat fast? The Google diet. No, I mean seriously.
Well, but the reality is that the one constant that we have, no matter which angle you take, is change. If it's affiliate marketing, it's always changing. If it's local clients consulting, it's always changing. And the edge that we have is this collaborative union between all of these great brains, that allows us to stay 3 and 4 steps ahead of our competition.
Right.
No matter what change comes about.
300 to 400 steps ahead of them. I mean, I don't even know what they're doing. I really don't. I, I just, I just can't. Like, if y'all knew what went on behind the scenes, you'd just scratch your head. I mean, really. It's just this is why one of the reasons I've been coming out with these OMG Way emails is I want to make it easy for you to have 2 folders. One folder is the OMG folder. The other is everyone else's way. When it comes to money getting, right now, remember, I'm not saying come to me if you've got a cold and you need to know, grandma's recipe for getting it over quickly. I can't give you an answer to that. I can't tell you what car mechanic to go to in Pensacola to get your car fixed. I just do not know. Okay. But when it comes to money getting, it's the OMG way. Okay. That's the folder, and all these the other lists that you might be on and the advice that you might get from these other guru guys or from Tony Robbins or on TV or from some authority figure in life. Do y'all know what Cotton's dad told him? Cotton's dad's a smart guy. Do you know what he told him?
What?
Go get a job. You want to know what David Mills' parents told him? Go get a job. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been told that before too, and I finally just, I said, well, look, screw everything and everybody. This is what I'm going to do. I'm unemployable. I cannot work for anybody. I've reached a point in my life that is just not something I'm willing to do. So I am going to make this a success.
Yeah, it's great. Charles said not a checkbox, but a breakthrough. Carrie's exactly right. How many people here think that? Give me number one if you think that Cotton was smart to ignore his dad's advice and to go the OMG way.
Oh hell yeah.
Was that pretty smart? Yeah. What about David Mills? Should he have listened to his parents and gone and gotten a job?
Nope.
No way.
Because then you're buying into the mainstream thought process that you have to go to school, get married, get a job, and that's it. You're just you're a lemming for the machine.
Well, and the whole thing is it's not even like we know what the machine looks like. It's not designed. Right, like remember, this goes back to saturation in the first place. We started focused, got a little bit wide, got focused again. Now we're going to finish things off a little bit wide here. If everybody else's way was so good, then we wouldn't have the unemployment that we have today. We wouldn't have people struggling today. We wouldn't have massive layoffs. eBay just laid off something like 27% of their workforce.
Yeah, what is it? $1 trillion in student loan debt?
Oh yeah.
What's that about? All these college graduates working at McDonald's? Thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. You want to know where to go get step-by-step instructions on getting a weekly paycheck. It's McDonald's. Okay, if these professors were so smart, if these self-help gurus were so smart, if all these guys were so smart, then where are their earnings reports? This is all I want to know. Like where are Harvard's earnings reports? I mean, it's just flabbergasting to me. I was just thinking about Harvard. Somebody goes to Harvard because I was thinking about it because that earnings report we got a couple of days ago. I was thinking about, sorry, it was just, and it reminded me a lot of like Fletch's first earnings report and Daryl's and so forth. Let me see, blogs. You go to omgmachines.com/blog/dispatches. But yeah, Iman's earnings report. I'll read it to you here real quickly. What's up, gang? Since joining the OMG team a few weeks ago, I've been sitting on the sidelines watching, learning, and applying. I've gone through most of the SEO training and client acquisition materials, and boy, I've learned so much. In the past week or so, I closed $8,700 in SEO sales, which is recurring. I have another $6,000 in SEO client coming this week. Finalizing paperwork, blah, blah, blah. Being part of OMG has empowered me to share my stats to help motivate others as they've helped motivated me, and to also hold myself accountable to keep working hard. Big thanks to you all. Let's go get that money. If Iman had taken the Harvard Business School approach, then first of all, he would have already had to have a very high paying job, big grades, all that stuff. Like, how many people do you think get into Harvard and then like 6 weeks later are making 5 figures a month?
None.
What about nursing school? What about medical school? What about lawyers? It doesn't happen. It's just ridiculous. All right.
No, I will tell you something else. When you have a job, because I used to have one. Look, I'm 52. I've had lots of jobs. The annual quest to get that 2 or 3 or 4% raise, you're trying to work a whole year so you can get another, $400 or $500 a month, because they deem that you have value. I'm so jaded now. It's like, $400 or $500. No, I'm not doing a work job for you for $500. I don't need your $500. No. It's like, my mindset is so completely different than the vast majority of people, not on our website here today or in OMG, but those other people, that they can't conceive of the thought process that you can sit down, write something, put it out on the web, and then maybe make $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000. They just have no concept that if you want vacation money, you just create something and you get your vacation money. That concept is so foreign to them. But for me, I can't imagine having to go to work for 8 hours a day to make $7,550 or $200. I can't imagine that.
Yeah, I have that same problem. I've got, every once in a while I look back at some of the people come in my shop, and one guy came in the other day. I said he's been at his job 18 years, and he says, I'm making $125 a day, and I'm not sure if I'm going to make it because they're thinking about cutting back. And I'm going, I didn't, I never really think about it. I said, $125 a day? Or was that an hour or 10 minutes? What was that? He said, a day, $125 a day.
Yeah.
And that's not reality. That's the reality they want us to think. But once you get to where once you tune it over and you get over that plateau, it's like, it's just, what do you want? It's just like Kerry was saying. I mean, what do you need, an extra $5,000 or something? 10 grand? What do you need?
Yeah, go get it. Hey, yeah. Kerry, I just remembered that you had one specific lesson you wanted to share.
Oh yeah. That's a great one. Yeah, we got to do that real quick.
This is one more tidbit. This is kind of fun.
Okay, everybody, Cotton and who else? I think what is it, Fletch maybe? They're talking about the Google local and the citations and making sure you have all that stuff and getting your Google My Business page set up. Well, here's something. If you're doing local work, you need to incorporate Google 360 into your Google My Business account. This little trick, it's not really a trick, but this is using Google certified photographers to come to a business and take exterior photos, interior photos, like a panoramic 360 tour of the business, And by doing this, they will automatically upload them to the Google My Business page, and you will get increased rankings in your Google local search results.
That's
Guaranteed.
a great idea.
Okay, now, and it's super easy to do. You just go to Google 360 and say like photographer. You know, you're looking for a Google 360 photographer in, say, Atlanta. Okay, all right, boom. Find a Google trusted photographer. There it is. You just go there. You say, well, I want to find one. What's my area? You know, you say, well, and I just did this for my attorneys, and you know, you get a list. And there it is. I contacted this guy named right here, DJ Jennings, and you know, of course, I have a little bit bigger of a budget to work with, but this is what they'll do. They'll go in, and they'll take exterior photos, they'll take interior photos, they'll put them together as a 360, upload them straight to your client's website, and boom, you have an extra edge on all the other people that don't know about this.
Love it.
Great idea.
All right. Now, you know, it's a funny little pricing thing, but I think the minimum that you can get away with, yeah, a minimum is like $300, and that will take. It's like what they call a 3-tour minimum, or 3-tour nodes, or is some weird way they have. It talks about panoramic, but you know, I'm using the 20 node package, which is up to $800, and what they will do, you get a good photographer, they will go in and take photos of really cool shots that you can't get, your client won't get unless they hire a professional photographer, and you're getting it for almost nothing at this kind of price level, plus all the benefits that you get by going through a Google authorized photographer when they load it up. I mean, it's like bam, you know, it's like, you know, you're getting all of this secret sauce
at the end of the day,
that's Google approved.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you're going to charge your client appropriately. You know,
yeah, exactly. But you know, if you're looking for that extra little edge for your local stuff, this is it. It's not a trick. This is a Google authorized, you know, part of how to do business with them.
Love it, love it. So you know, they charge you $300. You pass on like $1,000 to the client, and you know, move on with it. All right, great. So this is just a fun session. We have over 100 comments on Facebook. We're 2 hours and 42 minutes in. We still have about 140 some odd people on. Really want to thank
and 100% of them watching.
Yeah, it's true. Wow, this is true.
Yep.
Wow, that is true. Yeah, very, very attentive. Anyways, I don't know. I mean, OMG is just sitting on a hill. This is the OMG way. I mean, this is how we're doing things. You know, we're assimilating. Resistance is futile. You know, just have fun with it. You know, we really, really want you to have fun. We're having fun. I'm having fun. You know, I hope you are. I do, because you know, I care about y'all. I pray for you know, y'all to have wisdom and health, and for, you know, God to take care of you like a little baby infant every single day. I want you to have incredible success, and just for things to be good in your life. And you know, this is just a fun event. Probably next week, I'll probably just due to timing and scheduling, I'll probably have to do, if I do an acceleration webinar, which I'd like to do, then I'll probably do it on Saturday again. This has been a lot of fun. Carrie, Daryl, and Angela, thank you all so much for jumping on with us today.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate being here.
I enjoyed it, Mike. I enjoyed sharing the thoughts, and hope everybody listened.
Great to be here.
All right, thanks so much. Congratulations to you all. God bless everybody, and I will see you on the inside of OM.